All right, we're live. This is Michael.Yon in Chiang Mai, Thailand. It is 0659 in the morning here on 14 March 2020. That means it's almost 0700, which makes it about 8 p.m. in the United States in Washington, D.C. Lots happening there. President Trump just declared a state of emergency, of course. There is a state. I said in the headline I wasn't going to mention President Trump. Uh, Anyway, I just mentioned that he said that there was a state of emergency. The reason that I'm not going to talk about President Trump is I was warned that some people on web pages that are not mine are complaining and don't want me to say anything bad about President Trump. And so I was warned that I'll be knocked off of those pages. And so what I'm going to do is there's a lot of information here, some that can save your life. And I'm not going to have a chance to go over it on all those pages because there's things that I need to say that would actually require saying his name. So what I'm going to do is just say a few real quick things, and then I'm going to go back offline and come back online, but not on those other pages. Remember, my pages. Chris is saying can't hear. Why can't you hear? Who else can't hear? All right, let's see if anybody can hear. Hey, Wei Sean, hello from New York City. Audio week. Who can't hear? Who can't hear? Good morning. Yeah, it's getting wacky, Larry. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? It should be more audio now because I tried to adjust it. Good in YouTube. Very low, Julie is saying. I can hear, but okay. Let me try something here to make it a little higher. How about now? That should be substantially higher, actually. Let's see if that works. Is that much higher? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brandon, you can hear good, but I want you to be able to hear it loud and clear, like really loud, like so you don't have to. Like if you turn up your volume, I should be too loud, right? My voice should be. I'm looking at my gain over here. I don't see any clipping on the red. I don't see any red things. Okay, good. All right. So 5 by good. Everybody's saying we got people coming on Facebook and people coming on YouTube, lots. And so I can't answer them all. So what I just want to get very quickly, there's a lot of serious things happening. Some of it I have to mention President Trump. So I don't want to mention him because it's hurting a lot of people's feelings. So I'm just going to do a couple quick things. Then I'm going to go offline and come back online only on my pages, only on my YouTube, and only on my Facebook. That way I can speak without, being warned not to mention that guy. Even though through time I've been very positive towards his, the way that he's helping to defend our southern border, and the way that he's been standing up to China and many other things. I've actually been complimenting him a lot over the last 3 years on that. But not so much on this virus. And so, but that, you see, that's hurt some feelings because he's like a god to some people. So we're going to skip past that. I just want to mention Ireland is closing schools. Iran seems to be digging more mass graves from virus issues. Italy is getting crushed. Spain is on the front end and getting hurt. Angela Merkel in Germany has, acknowledged how serious this is, and Germany's about to be hit hard. France, same. We've seen Canada. The prime minister's wife is sick. And then they got, Tom Hanks and his wife are sick down in Australia with the same thing. Then there's that basketball player that was sick, and people complaining that, there's a lot of things to tell you. Actually, some of them actually can save your life. But I have to mention that guy's name who's president. And I don't want to do it and offend a lot of people. So I'm going to go offline now and come straight back on only my Facebook page, which let me show you what that is. Hold on. There's a little button here I need to push to show you that. Let's see. Right. Hello from Germany. I will. What in the world's going on? Add to. All right. So I'm going to. Now Maryland, no audio. Let me see. Who else has. Anybody got audio here? Got it playing now. Yes, UK school. Let me show you my YouTube pages. This in the background is, okay, this is one of my YouTube pages, but don't actually use this one. Don't actually use this one. I'm trying to get rid of it. I don't know. I have 3 pages and I only want 1. And so don't use that one. Again, don't use that YouTube page. Use this one. Use this YouTube page. So screenshot this one quickly, please. This is the one with 3.55 thousand subscribers. So you can see I haven't used it very much. But subscribe to that one and then hit the bell, wherever the bell is here. And here's the bell. See the bell right here? Subscribe to that page and hit the bell. And I see Julie saying the schools in Wisconsin are closed. And Colleen's saying she has audio. And so subscribe to this one. And here is my own, my Facebook page is, well, it was here. My Facebook page is here. I don't know if you can see these other pages. Oh, Christine is saying, I see no URL. Do you see, if you can search for this one, Michael.Yon and Cannibal Hunter, and look for that picture. I don't know if you can see my icon there, my mouse. Okay. It's not screen sharing, Mike. Oh, Lord. Let's see. Seeing no URL. Okay, you can't see the URL, but can you see the actual page? Can you see my YouTube page there? Actually, let me look on my own Facebook here, and then I'll see. I should see what you're seeing. Let's see here. And so many things to talk about. Some of them are quite important and potentially life-saving. Actually, it doesn't look like you can see my screensaver. Well, that's not good. All right. We'll have to work that out later. But okay, for my Facebook page, go to the one where I've got my, handsome picture, this picture. See that picture? There's 3 YouTube pages. They are all 3 mine. I don't know how I got 3, and I don't want 3. I want 1. But go to the one that has this picture of me on it, right? The one with 3.55 thousand subscribers. That picture right there. Not the picture of all the rest. That's one of my Japanese books. And that's the right one. And then subscribe to that one and hit the bell. And then you'll be on the right YouTube. And then you'll get live. And also go to my Facebook page. And Jack is saying, what's up with the monkeys in Thailand going wild in the city? Stay safe. It's those, I know where they're talking about. I've seen those monkeys do that. They, they're used to having a bunch of tourists that feed them and whatnot, and apparently they don't have them now. I just saw it in the news. So, all right. Actually, I don't have anything to say about Trump right now, so it's not going to offend anybody just yet. So when I get ready to say something that would be offensive, then I'll go offline and come back on my own Facebook and my own YouTube pages. And my Facebook is just Michael.Yon fan page. Sorry, I was looking at security camera. I saw one of my cats running. Let's see. She made one of the alarms trip. All right. So many things happening. Schools are closing everywhere. As you know, I've been saying we should close schools for a long time, and we should ground flights. Back in January, I was warning about this, and of course, I always sound pie in the sky when I say these things, because they can sound pretty kooky, right? Actually, I really would love to share my screen with you and show you some things. Do you see my screen now? Can you see it? I want to show you something. And I practiced on this, and it was working for me before. Can you see my screen? Ashton is saying, good or bad about Trump? I got a lot of good things to say about him, and I got some bad things to say. But if I say something bad, then it's going to really anger a lot of people on pages where I've been asked to be a guest. And I don't want to do that because I'm a guest there, like on Brian Kolfage's pages. I really respect Brian in the incredible work that he's doing. You can see the screensaver. Okay, everybody's saying, okay, can you see my icon moving around on the Michael.Yon correspondent cannibal page? Do you see that? Actually say that now. Yeah, okay, yes, it's screen saving now, Kevin says. Okay, great. That's great news because there's some things I want to show you. I've been practicing because this will make it better for us in the future when I can show you different things. Okay, here's my own Facebook page is this one. That's my Facebook page. And you can see, how do I get these things out of the way here? All right, you can see this video. I made this video here actually of them throwing the Molotovs in Hong Kong. And see on the left there. This is not what I was going to show you. I was just going to show you this is my main Facebook page. But on the left there, that's the People's Liberation Army base right there. It used to be a little British right there, right where my icon is. That thing right there is there. There's Chinese soldiers in there, and they're throwing Molotovs. These are the heroic Hong Kong fighters. I made all this video, but anyway, this is just the top of my Facebook page. But if you go on there, you can see. Oh, what have I done? But if you clicked it. But if you go on there, you'll be able to see my.
So this is it. This is really dangerous actions they're throwing.
And so anyway, but this is the right YouTube page. Don't go to this page. That is my page, but I don't want to use that one. I want to delete it. Now I want to show you something else. Make sure to sign up for my Facebook page, by the way. It's very important because I put a lot of things there that I don't put on YouTube or that I don't put on video at all. I'll just write something very quickly. I might be on my phone. I need to tell people this. It could be important. But I don't always have time to, go back and set everything up and go live. So, all right. Now, look at this. This is the air pollution index, right? You can find this. This is Chiang Mai. This is where I live, right? Chiang Mai, Thailand. It's a great place. Chiang Mai is great. Thais are great. Thailand's great. But we got a problem here all throughout Asia is air pollution. Look at this. Very unhealthy where I'm at. This is the air pollution index. You can find this. I look at it very often. Look at this. Look at this. It's terrible. And for many reasons. And it should be getting a little better up in China right now. Usually in China, it looks horrific. But I live near here, right? So you can see very bad, 215 and other parts of Chiang Mai. They got these sensors out, right? But look at this. Look at this. Let's scan out. I want to show you something. Now, remember, the scientists and the medical doctors are telling us that Lim says, my Facebook page is sexy. You're awesome. All right, you're sexy too, Lim. I hope you're a woman. Let's see. Let's see. Better be careful saying that. Let's see. I haven't seen your picture. I'm just joking, as you know. Let's see. Wei Shan says, depends on which media. Sky News Australia seems to paint him in a positive light. All right, let's wow, Ron is saying my sound is cutting in and out. Is anybody else getting that experience? Okay. Okay. All right, so I'm reading some comments here. Christina says, I can't marry you, Michael. I could not breathe there. Let's see. All right. All right. Listen. Look at this air pollution index. Look at this. I'm gonna scan. I'm gonna scan out here. Actually, I'm gonna put these down so we can see. Wait, it's not working. What am I doing wrong? Okay, here we go. Look at this. I'm gonna scan. I'm gonna go out. Look at this. Okay, look at this throughout Asia. All this terrible air. Look at this. Not Japan. Japan normally has very good air, except when air currents come over from China. But United States generally has very good air. I look at it all the time. And Europe generally does too. U.S. usually has very good air. I mean, it's not, you don't usually see this, even the orange. Usually it's quite good. See, that's the United States. And it's so funny to me since I travel the world and I see so much pollution everywhere. Except you go back to America and I'm like, it's actually very clean here. And they're the ones in the rest of the world's telling us we're destroying the world, you know? And I'm like, not really. And this is Mexico down here, by the way. This dirty air, that's Mexico. What are they doing down there? 815? Well, you need a machete to cut through that. I mean, seriously, what are they doing? Burning marijuana fields or something? That's unbelievable. 815. That's what it was yesterday, too, something like that. Here's something, 224 up here. What's going on in Ogden Dunes, Indiana? Is there a fire up there? Why is the air so bad up in Ogden Dunes? But normally, you know, you'll see it's quite clean. I've been around this world, and and I was in business in the United States and seen all kinds of stuff. And the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, if you're an American, it can be a pain. It can be a serious pain. But then I go to places like India and China, or here in Thailand, and I go, wow, okay, hold on. Go to China or India especially. It's much cleaner here in Thailand. But you go to those countries, and you'll go, maybe the EPA is not so bad. I'll take me some EPA, and I would like them to have a tighter leash. They've got too much power, but they need power. They need some power. Not as much as they have, but they need, otherwise we look like this. Because remember, it wasn't very long ago, the United States was very, very dirty. The United States isn't clean because all of our businesses and factories, automatically go, let's take care of the world. That's not how it works. They're clean because we got an EPA because our country was so dirty at one time. What was that river that caught on fire? It was just so much. Remember the Indian commercial where he's crying? He was actually Italian, I think. But so in any case, yeah, you see this. And now apparently air pollution, smoking, and that sort of thing can lead to a higher death rate from this virus or from any respiratory illness. And so you see the air throughout. Look at this in China. Usually it's much dirtier in China. It's kind of clean right now. But look at this, how dirty it still is, even when the economy is relatively shut down at this point. Look how filthy that is. Can you see my screen? Let me come back on and make sure that anybody's commenting whether you can actually see this. Go to Australia, Ashton, saying, wow, surprised about Mexico. Okay, so you can see my screen. You can see my screen. And yeah, it's good air in Germany. Yeah, you guys got great. I love Germany, man. Ich war 4 Jahre in Deutschland. Ich habe 4 Jahre in Bayern gewohnt. I said I lived 4 years in Germany. I lived 4 years in Bayern, which is in southern Germany. I love Bayern, man. That's like really great. Oh, there's a volcano in Mexico. Is that what that bad air is from? Something's going on. Barbara's saying, it's because America sent everything over to Asia to be made. Whoa, hold on, Rambo. People always say that. They're always like, but it's still America's fault somehow that China has pollution pumping out all these factories around Beijing and Shanghai and Xi'an and all the places everywhere, Wuhan, Kunming. Everything is like so polluted over there. Oh, but it's somehow America's fault. No, I don't buy it. And I want to say this. As the world continues to go, America, you need to give us all your wealth because we're going to have global warming and everybody's going to die. And somehow this is all America's fault. So America, give us all your money. This is a hijacking, give it now. That's why I'm totally on board with President Trump with that. I'm like, talk to the hand. I'm not saying that there's not a global warming issue. I think that there actually might be. It actually appears that there is. But the solution is, America, give up all your money and power. It's like, oh, whoa. And all these countries like India and China want to go, oh, no, but we should get waivers. Or they make promises like, oh, yeah, we'll meet the demand. We'll meet the agreement. No, they won't. They never meet any agreements, period. They won't, period. This is how we can solve it. The United States, as China has had massive problems with this virus, and the United States is about to very serious. And all these people calling it flu, and Dr. Drew is doing the same. Who is this punk Dr. Drew? Dr. Drew is calling this like the flu, and he brings up the word panic. Now, when people bring up the word panic and flu about this, I'm like, okay, as soon as they say don't panic, I divide my estimation of their IQ in half. I put a 2 under estimation of IQ. He said don't panic. I'm like, okay, whatever I thought your IQ was, it's divided by 2. And then they'll say, this is the flu. I'm like, okay, divide by 2 again. It's like, here we go. Because this ain't the flu. And this is March 14th. We've had plenty of time to figure this out. Unless you're in a cave, then you get a pass. If you've been living in a cave and you got no internet, or you just came in from submarine duty because you've been out in, some nuclear submarine defending the United States, and you come up and the first thing you hear is Dr. Drew saying, it's just the flu. And you're like, yeah, it's just the flu. Why is everybody panicking? You get a break because you've been in a submarine, but you guys get email on those submarines, right? Anyway, so yeah, and the point is there are ways that we can address these air and other pollution problems that exacerbate so many things. As China's economy melts down, and ours is about to as well, the global economy is about to be kneecapped, right? It is. One kneecap's already gone. And so you'll see if you haven't seen it yet. And you don't need to be Warren Buffett to see this coming. Just like you don't need to be a fireman to see that Australia burned last year or whatever, this year, right? Last year. And so what we do is we have to move out. Obviously, what a lot of people like I have been talking about for years and many others is move out manufacturing back to the United States and to friendly countries, right? That's for starters, especially for starters, anything that's of strategic importance like pharmaceuticals. There's a lot of people that almost certainly are going to die in the next few months in the United States, here in Thailand, Europe, all over the world, because our pharmaceuticals, about more than 80%, are made in China, and includes APIs, right? The active pharmaceutical ingredients made in China. So we're dependent upon China, India, and other countries, and some come from us. And then the FDA doesn't let us come and inspect the way that we can inspect in the United States. Yeah, RP is right. Switch to YouTube. It's much better video there on YouTube. Much better video on my YouTube. It's for whatever reason, Facebook has the video is not as good. It's not even nearly as clear, and also the audio as well. And here's Mark is saying, but Greta doesn't go to India or China to annoy the problem countries. Yeah, that's something I've noticed for many years. They won't bother countries like Russia or China or Saudi Arabia, or it's just America, really, just America, because America will actually be responsive. So they're like, we just keep giving the pigeons, something to peck on, right? And yeah. So let me see down here, and Barbara's right. Bring jobs back to the United States. Let me see. Joel White is saying, looking at maps of a lot of areas are right over Georgia Pacific and some other paper mills. Man, I've been to a lot of those paper mills back when I was in business. They put out a lot of stink, man. As you know, if you're like in Waynesville, North Carolina, up around that place, I don't know if they still have all the Champion. It was Champion and what other ones are out there? There was some big paper mills. Man, it'd stink that place up. I was inside of those factories often, actually. Long story. Okay, let's see. Oh, let's see. Lim Chong is saying, I'm watching your YouTube on my new 70-inch 4K TV with the sound system. Amazing. That's awesome, man. 4K, that's like you can see detail in everything I do then. You can see some of my notes that other people won't possibly be able to read those on Facebook. I think they won't be able to, but you might be able to if you screenshot that. All right. Let's Arkansas has 0. You must be talking about air pollution. Arkansas. Man, United States is actually really clean compared to most of the countries I go to in the world. Europe is very clean. Obviously, Japan is super clean. And how do I get back to my, here we go. But Japan has a problem, and that's their neighbor. They have to deal with China. And all right, now let's talk about some things. I'm not going to talk about PT, President Trump, right now, so that won't offend people on some pages. But if later when I need to talk about him, we'll take it to a different venue, right? So I don't get a bunch of nasty emails and threatened and stuff. All right, so let's talk about anti-maskers and anti-vaxxers, right? I've always thought that the anti-vaxxers are, off base with this. I see their points, actually. They're not like, it's not like the people try to make the anti-vaxxers sound like they're crazy, and it makes the anti-vaxxers dig in even more, right? Because the anti-vaxxers know they actually have some points. They actually do have some points. And you got to seed that part, that there's actually first of all, many of our vaccines are made in China now, right? Do you trust China to make your medicines? We already know they've killed plenty of people, and including Americans, with their medicines, and our FDA is not allowed to inspect in China the way that they can inspect. In the United States, if you make pharmaceuticals or food and the FDA comes to your door and they go knock knock, you can't go, hey, we're in a board meeting, come back tomorrow. They'll be like, we're the FDA. You're going to open up right now or we'll be through that door. You know what I'm saying? They got full authority, as they should, and they can come in there and park out and put a tent in your parking lot and stay there as long as they want. They can go through, they can come with Q-tips and check every little thing, and that's the way we want them to be, right? Likewise, so many Filipinos, I love Philippines, I love Filipinos, and I don't even know if our Navy could operate without Filipinos. But, you know, a lot of Filipinos want to become a U.S. state. And every time I'm in Philippines or I meet Filipinos, I'll be like, and we'll talk about stuff like that because I love talking with Filipinos. And you bring it up, and most Filipinos will actually say, yeah, we would like to be a state. And I was like, I'll just always say, you don't want to be a state. We're really good friends now. Let's stay friends, because if you were to become a state, you would declare war on us within the first year when our restaurant inspectors come to your restaurants. You know, it would never work out. We would be divorced. You would declare war on the United States, man. Especially FDA and oh my gosh. And when the FDA comes and says, oh man, you got to throw out this whole train of rice because there's like, I don't know, rat poop on it or something. You'd be like, what? It's like, yeah, but that's the way we need to have it, that high standard, but it can be a pain too. Like the EPA, I love that we have very high standards in the United States, but sometimes it's actually, it's draconian. I wouldn't say a little draconian. It's actually a lot draconian at times. And so we need to have it, but it needs to have, you know, a proper balance. Toy Stewart, there is a strategic national stockpile of medication and supplies, including some vaccines and emergency meds. Let's get to some very important life-saving information here. Take a note real quick. Okay, I want to remember to tell you something here, but I need to take a note to do it. Okay, listen. Still, in the United States and in Europe, it sounds clear that most people still have a chance to stock up on food. It's what it sounds like. We're getting down to the wire. Look, Italy has already closed all their stores, from what I'm being told, in Italy and from seeing in the news, except for food and pharmacies, right? And now think about this. Let's think this through. First of all, what are their hours now? And secondly, if you're like, 70 years old, do you want to go shopping right now? And I delivered food yesterday to 2 elderly people in Thailand, and I left the food outside. Like, not even, all I said was hello, or Sawasdee Krap, actually, and this is how you say hello in Thailand. Sawasdee Krap, right? Well, I can't do it very well here because anyway. Actually, this new elbow bumping and toe touching and all that, you should just do it the way Thais do it. I love the way Thais do it anyway. Like when I go to Japan, I'll be like that. They'll be like, you're in Japan, man. You're not even in Thailand. I'll be like, in Hong Kong too. They're like, what are you doing, man? You're not in Thailand. Stop doing the Sawasdee Krap thing. I like it. I think that's a much better way to say hello. It's just more respectful. You know what I mean? And also you can, if you, like, I can show more respect in the way that I do it to older people. Like I can, if it's older people, like I always show more respect to older people because that's the way I was raised up, and Thai people are raised up that way too. So as I see older people, I'll go like this more. If I see younger people, I'll just be like that, right? And it's a way to, to show more respect. If I see a doctor, I'll be, show more respect. If I saw a U.S. Army general, I would show more respect until he screws up, and I say, get the hell out of here, right? So, so there's a limit to that. So, in any case, you don't have to shake hands in Thailand, right? Because it's the Y system. I love it. It's great, man. It's a very smart system. And I don't know where it came from. Maybe, I wonder if it came from India. I don't know, way back when, because, there's a lot of overlap. If you've been to India much and Thailand much, you can see that this water mixes, in many different ways. Okay. I want to actually, hey, Lim, I want to actually answer some questions here. You have a herd of deer that bed down on your porch every night. Oh, man, where are you? That's important because depending on where you are, you might want to be cognizant of a Lyme disease threat, depending on where you're at. And I'm not a Lyme disease expert, just, cautious. I love to eat deer. Yeah, I'm not a vegetarian or a cowboy. One of my nieces, when she was really young, she was about 5 or something. She's like, my sister's a veterinarian. So my niece, she was about 5, she's like, when I grow up, she was trying to say veterinarian. She goes, I want to be a vegetarian or a cowboy. It's still a family joke. I want to be a vegetarian or a cowboy. Let's see. Okay. Ute sagt, Mike, Österreich. Okay, they're going to close. Austria is going to close on Monday. Germany Tuesday. They should. We should have all closed down already. Our southern border in the United States. Lock that bad boy down. Brian Kofaja and his team and all the people that have donated to the wall, you are incredible. It's unbelievable. I mean, like there's Americans who have donated like $25 million or something to build the wall down there. And Kofaja has been helping with that. Brian got hurt in the war. He got hit with a rocket, man. He got hurt very badly, and he's still in the fight. And that's something I wanted to say. A lot of veterans, like Brian, for some reason, man, he got hit bad. He's hurt very badly and permanent, but he's still fighting. He's still fighting. He's like Eric Carrillo when he got shot and he kept fighting and he returned to combat. Or Harry Tennell. So many of our veterans, man, they get shot up, bad, blown up, whatever, and they still stay in the fight in whatever way that they can. And I wanted to say that. Now, this disease is going to hit us very hard here in Thailand and in the United States and all over the world. And a lot of veterans out there, well, if you need a new mission, this is it, because this is another chance to serve your people around you in your country. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that need to get done that are not going to get done unless people like us do them. People like Brian Kofaja and all those people that donated $25 million to build the wall and go down there and help him and all that. Unless all of us get together and do our normal thing. Thais do it. Americans do it very well. Cajun Navy, unbelievable. I mean, and also Japanese do it. A lot of countries will do it. We got to get together. Like yesterday, I delivered food to a couple old people. I'll do it again and over as much as all they got to do is send a message and, and they'll be good to go. So they don't have to leave their house and leave the food outside. Don't even come close, even though I got my, latex and all that on. Just stay back. And we'll get through this thing. It's going to be, some months. And a lot of people are going to die. Don't kid yourself. It's important to just say it and get it rehearsed in your mind that a lot of people are about to die. A lot. And the way that our lives are now are going to be very different soon. Get used to quarantine. Come here to the Michael.Yon Quarantine Coffee and Book Club. We'll talk about books and, I don't know, ways to not be stir crazy. I love to play chess, but we can't play chess with like 50 people or something. But there's a lot of things that we can do. Just talking, exchanging information, figure out ways. If you know somebody who's a frontline person, that's all of our medical people, all of our doctors and nurses, EMTs, people that run the hospital, administrators, firefighters, police officers, FBI, all these people they're going to need support because we expect them to stay in the fight. We expect them, this is your war. You're the soldier now, right? And they need our support. They need, like, if they need somebody to feed their goldfish, feed their dog, water their lawn, go shopping for them. Whatever they need, tell them, hey, send me a message on whatever, email or something, and text me. I'll go get your stuff for you. You need me to go shopping? Send me the list. I'll go get it. Leave it at your house. You know what I mean? That sort of stuff. And if we support each other like that, we're going to be good to go. We're still going to take a lot of casualties. That much is extremely clear. And it's going to have some remarkable effects on our economy. They're going to be very, very bad. So we got to be clear about that. So you got to prepare for it now. Start saving your on your bills and cut down on bills. Unfortunately, that means I'm going to get cut down on. How am I going to pay my bills? So look, like my latest book that came out less than 2 weeks ago, this one, I mentioned to I mentioned to the publisher, I don't think that we should come out with it now because of the virus. And I don't think he was tracking on this quite as much as I was. And so anyway, the book's not so much work for all of us. Sad. You know how much work goes into these? Oh, man. But, hey, everybody's going to suffer, including me. And you know what? Suffer well and do well, and we'll be strong together. All you veterans out there, and you don't have to be a veteran. Everybody else, now's the time. If you're a mother and you got children, you got to show leadership, show strength. Don't be all nervous and crying and all that in front of the kids. You got to show strength because, as you know, little ducklings follow mother duck more than anything. And when they see how mother duck is, the children take huge signals. We all know that. Now, really important on the stores and shopping. Let me see if there's on the water filter. You're right. On the stores and shopping. I keep going to stores here just to see how everything's going here in Chiang Mai, Thailand. And there's really no extraordinary buying at all. Like all the rice is still there. I check rice. And I walk up down every single aisle. I did it again yesterday, even though I don't really need anything at all. I walk up every single aisle, up and down. I did go shopping for the old people, but I walk up and down every single aisle just in case I forgot something. So when you get your list and you check it twice, you might go off to Publix or Kroger or Costco or, Walmart or something, Sam's, and then you start skipping aisles. Don't skip aisles. Go every aisle and take your time and make sure you didn't forget something. Make sure you got enough soap for several months, because we may be quarantined for months. They say, oh, you got to quarantine 14 days or whatever. That's not really how it's going to go. It depends on, there's a lot of things that can happen here. I would be prepared to go. Now, when it comes to food, think about what's happening in Italy right now. Or over in Iran, they apparently are the Iranians digging, using backhoes to build mass graves. They're digging we can see them on satellite. You can go online, you'll see what I'm saying. They're digging mass graves, apparently. That's sick. I like Iranians. I know I don't like their government. Their government sucks. But actually, when you meet Iranians, they're actually very nice, very, very nice people. Every time I meet an Iranian, I'm like, why would I want to go to war with you? They just always seem like such nice people. And so it's sad to see that this is happening. It's not sad to see that their top end government's getting facing this head on, but it's very sad to see that the good Iranian people are having to deal with this. Make sure you stock up now. This is going to peak in different countries at different times, right? And we don't know if this is seasonal or not. The scientists haven't had time to figure that out or not. Look, this bad boy just came out of the box like in December when we really started noticing it. And I started warning about it in January. And then finally, some people started warning about it in February. And now some people are still calling it the flu. But for instance, peaked in China, and then it peaked in Iran, of course, and it really hit in South Korea, even though they're taking great measures, and smashing Italy. It's about to smash Spain. UK is going to get smashed, obviously. And UK is leaving schools open, actually, for whatever reason. They think that they have reasons for doing it. It's not just willy-nilly. They believe that it's smarter to leave the kids in school. I don't, but they're very smart, and they got to make their own decisions. Some Americans think it's smarter to leave the kids in school too. For instance, by saying many of the nurses have children, and so because schools are something of daycare centers as well. We know that, right? And so if the nurse has to be with his or her children, then they're not on the front line, right? I don't know how the math really works out on that, quite frankly. It seems intuitively the best thing to do is to reduce the case level, even if it means pulling nurses off the front line, but I don't know. You have to have people that know all those numbers and have a really good feel for the big situation. And I have a feeling that at the end of the day, it's going to be not based on some mathematics. It's going to be based on, I think this is the right way to go, and the information isn't perfect, and we're going to make that choice. But we see schools closing around the United States now. I've been saying for a long time they should be closed. I've been saying for a long time that we should be, all of our flights should be grounded. All these cruise ships should be on, the Princess ships and all that, and all the other cruise ships should be, I want everybody to do well. You know what? When you're making money, people help me do my work too. They donate, right? I mean, why would I want anybody to do badly? I want everybody to make a bundle of money and be happy and send their kids to any school they want to go to without having all these massive university debts, which that's something that looks like it's on the table that President Trump has been talking about. Some tax relief on various fronts, which I think is quite smart. Think about how this, I was thinking about this today when I was walking, and you can walk out in the sunshine. If there's nobody around you, you don't need to wear a mask. If there's no, like when I just walk out in the sunshine and there's nobody around me, I walk out without my mask. Sometimes I'll wear it just so that I can keep accustomed and for discomfort. But other times I just go without because there's nobody around me. But think about how this can do as this unwinds the United States and other economies. What are we going to do with NASA? I mean, will this end up with huge budget cuts for NASA and SpaceX and so many, Boeing and how many others out there, ULA and so many others? What's ESA going to do? What's the Indian Space Agency going to do? What's JAXA going to do in Japan? What are we going to do with these really important experiments that we can't turn off or they, have problems? It really concerns me how this can set us back strategically on many fronts, as the tax base clearly is about to shrink. Well, it already is. It's not about to shrink. It is right now as businesses close down. So, that is an issue. Christine Hutton is saying, free virus checks in the USA for everyone. Well, I'm sure you can get virus checks, but they won't be free, and they won't be for this virus because we don't have enough kits for this virus unless you're on a basketball team. Apparently, the one basketball team guy got it, and then they test everybody else very quickly. It's what I read anyway. I don't know if that's actually accurate. I read that in the news somewhere. Colin Smith. All right. Make sure that you have plenty of gas. One of my Russian friends emailed me or messaged me today, and she's like, you said I need gas. I don't mean beans. I mean propane or butane. And she's kind of surprised that I was saying electricity could go out because the infectious disease experts, the epidemiologists that listen, they treat this stuff like this all around the world, like all the time. It never ends. But we don't see something this huge. This is literally the biggest thing in any of our lifetimes, unless you're like over 100 years old. And there is a very serious chance that this will be much, much more significant globally than even the 1918 pandemic. And I don't mean just the virus. I mean the complex of issues that surround it. Economic collapse, which can lead to wars, untold wars that none of us can even imagine just yet. What will China do when the United States in just a couple of months, say by May, is really getting crushed by this? And we really got problems with our military and we got problems internally. Is that the time to go ahead and take Taiwan and get all the, invade Taiwan? Some of my Japanese and Taiwanese and Hong Konger friends have been mentioning that. And at first I've been saying, I don't think that they'll do it now. And I don't think that they'll do it now. Right now, I still don't think that. But will they do it later, like in May? I mean, it's a moment of opportunity. It's a moment of opportunity to strike. And they, obviously think opportunistically because they are the last very serious, or I don't know if they're the last, but they are right. China, the Chinese Communist Party is an incredible, they're just spreading, they're just taking everything they can get. They're gobbling it up. It's funny. A lot of people in Australia recognize this and others don't. Other Australians are like pulling the kangaroo cover over their head or whatever, pulling that kangaroo pouch over their head like, oh, nothing's going to happen. I'm in mom's kangaroo pouch. Let me tell you what, if China wants Australia, she'll take it unless you got the United States backing you up. When Aussies, hear me say that, they're like, oh, you're just trying to pump up Australia. It's like, no, I don't want to see China take Australia. I'll go down there and help you fight. I'm telling you, without United States backup, China can take Australia like picking an apple because you don't have nuclear weapons. And I don't even know if you got the will to use them anyway. I would. If they're invading my country, it'd be like, well, that's it. It's like a gun's not credible unless somebody knows you'll actually pull the trigger. And obviously, that's that's the last thing you would ever want to do except be overrun. Dr. Drew, unbelievable. It's very good that the people that come on my pages now are thinking way ahead, rehearsing it in your head, getting, all the food and medicines that you need. We already know that China, most of our pharmaceutical, I'm going to turn off this aircon. Most of the pharmaceuticals in the United States and Europe and here in Thailand and many other countries come from China. So get what you can get now. I see the United States printing more money, or at least electronically printing it. Not sure what good that's going to do. I'm very curious what this change in the economy and tax base in the United States is going to do, for instance, to our park system. What's it going to do to our EPA, actually? A lot of cuts can happen just from there's no more tax base. So government gets cut as a function of the tax base. I mean, a lot of us have wanted to cut the U.S. government for a very long time. And so we might as well take this opportunity. But it's unfortunate that it would come so traumatically. But if the money's not there to pay, the money is just not there to pay. That's just the way it is. Pamela saying, hi, I'm coming on late again. Will you have to go back and listen again? Sounds like I missed some stuff. Oh, you did. I don't know, Lim. You're asking why Trump is still in denial. I can't talk about Trump because this is live streaming out to some pages where people get triggered by talking about these issues. So we'll have to do that on my page alone. It's interesting, like when I was disembedded from Afghanistan by General McChrystal's crew, they must have thought that would shut me up, but that's not actually how it works. It actually gave me a lot more time to go after him. And it actually gave me a lot more freedom to do it too. That's the paradox of it. That's actually the paradox. The smart thing to do is to keep inside the wire, not outside, because inside they say it's better to have them inside the wire than inside the wire pissing out than outside the wire pissing in. Excuse me for using that language. It's impolite in Southern culture to use that language. New Yorkers don't care, I think. Well, when I say might as well take this opportunity, I mean what I'm referring to on the cutting the government's going to get cut. There is no way around it. I mean, the U.S. government is about to face some serious cuts. If the tax base isn't there, how are you going to continue to do a lot of things that are fluff? How? I don't know how, because who's going to pay for it? Especially when you can't raise taxes when people aren't working. I mean, we're looking at a potential Great Depression here. I don't think that's soaked into a lot of people yet. They don't seem to quite get how serious this is and why people like me keep saying, you need to go shopping now. And other people that, have lower IQs are like, you're panicking. I'm like, I'm not panicking. I got plenty. And I'm fat. I can lose some fat. You know what I mean? And psychologically, I'm quite strong and steady. So I can just sit here and go, meditate, look at that candle, stare at the candle, watch the candle burn all the way to the bottom, meditate. You know what I mean? I'm fine. I'm so steady. I went off to wars for years. I chased cannibals in India. Man, there's nothing. It's like I'm totally fine. That's why we'll set up a quarantine and coffee book club here and share ways to be, for people that are stir crazy, we'll help them out of it. And if they have problems, people, maybe some of us can help come up with solutions. Or Clyde is saying, Clyde Angel Sinliff, the Fed will prop up the government. They just pumped 1.5 trillion into the market. Okay, then. Okay, hold on. Listen to the experts, what they say about that. I'm cutting out on Facebook, Deb is saying. Am I cutting out for anybody else? I wonder if that's Deb's connection or my connection. Yeah. Well, okay. Okay. Look at this guy with the strange name. Alrighty, Constantine. Wait, are you from Romania? That's a Romanian name, right? Romanish? Constantine. All right. Bad language. Listen, I never tell anybody I'm a reporter. Low IQ. Go ahead and block yourself. You know, one time I was in India. I was tracking cannibals, right? I've said that many times. So I was in India tracking cannibals. And, I live the world the way I view the world is a lot different than the way a lot of other people view the world. I view it like when people think that they can read my mind, I'm like, I don't think you can. and actually, if you can't read your own mind, you certainly can't read anybody else's. So if you ever wonder why you're doing something, you should probably not think that you can read somebody else's mind. But I look at the world very differently. And the only chance that you would even have even close of reading my mind would be if you're a very experienced combat soldier or something like that. You know what I mean? But even then, that won't quite do it because my skill stack is very weird. It's very strange, right? So I was in India and I was studying cults and to understand them better and tracking cannibals. Incredible. So I was with these Israelis. I like to hang out with Israelis and talk with them. A lot of very smart people, and I learn a lot from them. And I just like Israelis. And one morning there was an Israeli. He was 23 years old. His name was Ori Ilinik, and he was going down to the Ganges River at a place called Laxman Jula in northern India near Rishikesh, right? And he was going to cross the river with two Kiwis, two New Zealanders, and it was like Cat 5. It was like a super whitewater Ganges monsoon type stuff going on, right? I said, Ori, I wouldn't do that shit if I were you. Like that comedian. I was just like, don't do it. This is really dangerous. Look at the river, man. Listen to it. Listen how loud it is. I mean, that's dangerous. I wouldn't do that. And like often happens, people will say, oh, you're just this or that or the other. Anyway, we never found his body. He's gone. So that's it. And I helped the Israeli search team. We searched and searched and searched, found a lot more bodies, never found his body. And so that's the world I live in. I can tell you stories like that all day long from the wars or from other things where I'm like, I wouldn't do that shit if I were you. And then dead. And that's the way doctors and nurses and law enforcement and others often, their lives are like that too. When a doctor's like, I'd stop smoking that stuff if I were you. And then they're dead, and you know what? Nobody's going to come and put flowers on your grave every day. You're just gone and the world's going to keep spinning. Likewise with this virus, this is not the flu. And people that keep still saying this flu, and it's going to peak at different times in different countries as the other pandemics do. But back to my earlier thing about electricity going out. And water going out. We don't know if it will. Will it go out soon in Italy? I don't know. We should ask the Italians. But of course, they have a different grid than we have, right? In the Spanish, what's happening in Iran? Is their electricity gone out? Did it happen in China? I don't know. But all of us have different systems. And throughout the United States, we have different systems as well. But the United States, it's clearly going to peak at different places at different times. The experts will tell you this. They model this stuff they're constantly monitoring other epidemics. Epidemics they're a dime a dozen. There's loads of epidemics out there at all times. They're just not this big. There's loads of thunderstorms out there. They're just not category 5 typhoons, like 100 of them back to back. Basically we got like 100 typhoons, all Cat 5s coming at us all at once. with an earthquake and a volcano erupting. So, yeah, YouTube is much better. Good. All right. Let me see if I can answer some questions. But I would definitely help out any law enforcement that you know, any nurses, doctors, anybody we expect to be on the front line, and they need to. This is it. This is a moment of truth. I mean, this is a moment of truth. There's going to be a lot of zeros come out of this and a lot of heroes. And support the heroes. Put assist around the zeros. And remember who's who. Because when this is all over, we want to remember the people that behaved heroically or behaved strong. And we want to remember the people that caused us problems. And we want to not hire them and not have them around us. All right. Let's see any questions here. Thank you for so many comments, and keep comments coming. You know, this is the way a lot of people are answering each other's questions. Like, and there's a lot of medical doctors that come on here. There's a lot of scientists of different sorts, physicists, chemists, a lot of military people, a lot of people with combat experience, a lot of law enforcement people, so many different sorts of people that come on here. Great. Gary, let's see. Gary Carsey saying, I switched from YouTube to Facebook because of better comments. Both platforms sound and look good. Yeah, see, that's the problem. The YouTube definitely has better video and audio, but the comment, it's easier to comment on Facebook. So there you go. Why did I hunt cannibals? It was because I'm from Florida, and that's what Florida man does. You know, I mean, I was taking a break, and then so there I was. Okay, yeah. But it was amazingly educational. Actually, the cannibal hunting was one of the most educational things, maybe the most educational thing I've ever done. Even maybe, it's hard to say this, you know, like going into Green Berets in the Army was extremely educational, like super, super educational. I learned so much you won't believe it. And then going off to wars, you know, learned a lot in years and different wars and conflicts. Learned a lot there too. That was highly educational. And going into business and traveling to 75 countries. That's always very educational. But, and so, yeah, it's hard to say. Why don't you just get lost, Constantine? Go ahead. Go on back to wherever you're from. Nobody cares. All right. I nominate this post for all-time best piece of writing. I'm not writing anything. I'm just talking. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Let's see what C Chili is saying. This virus issue will change the world. This virus issue will change the world perception about Chinese communist leadership. Those guys are criminal fellas. Oh yeah. I've been working for years to try to destroy the Chinese Communist Party. Yeah, it's not a coincidence. I just spent 6 months in Hong Kong in the fighting, and finally they kicked me out, which they should have done when I was there for like 10 minutes. And, but they didn't. Constantine is threatening my life. So you're threatening to kill me, Constantine says. Right. If you're in the United States, that's going to cause you a problem. I don't know how to block your comment here, but I can tell you one thing. I will certainly be, if you're in the United States, I'll be sending this to the FBI soon. And if you're whatever country you're in, if it's a civilized country, I'll be sending it to their law enforcement. And if you think I'm afraid of you, come on, little boy. All right. Let's see. All right. So here we go. Barbara Moore, schools canceled in San Diego as well, and sports in San Jose. Church here are closed. All services and midweek activities. And Shadow Mountain does have all of its services live and online. That's good. And Dr. Drool. Yeah, churches, obviously, temples, mosques, they all need to close. Many, like the Saudis, have stopped many of the stopped the Hajj this year, not going to Mecca, and also and also well, the Iranians apparently are still going to, from what I've read, they're still going to many of their shrines, and I think the Iraqis are as well. And also, many others seem in Europe seem to be doing that. Not to mention, many Americans still seem to be doing that. Look at some countries are, like Germany and France, unless they just changed this in the last 24 hours. You're not allowed to have public gatherings of over 1,000 people, which is utterly ridiculous. It should be no gatherings, period. At this point, that's just, they're so weak. And then others are nobody over 500, and then 250, I think, for Ireland, right? It's still ridiculous. There should be that all churches, mosques, temples of any sort, anywhere like this should be closed. Now, I talked with somebody who works in a dialysis clinic, and his company is not allowing people to wear masks, not allowing to wear people that do dialysis. If you're on dialysis, you're already got some serious problems. And so the people that work there are not allowed to wear masks unless there's certain, in other words, they're not allowed to wear a mask unless there's a very specific reason for it. And they're not even allowed to wear their own mask that they bought. Think about the liability on that. Think about the liability if somebody that works in a dialysis clinic or any hospital and doesn't have a mask on, and then it can be proven that that's where you got the disease from. I'm guessing, I'm not a lawyer, but there's probably some unlimited liability associated with that, meaning you could break the company, maybe, if it killed one of your relatives, and that person clearly should have had a mask on, and clearly it came from them. Wow. I mean, imagine, like, one person that's a nurse in a dialysis clinic gives it to 30 people, and 5 of them die or something, because they're on dialysis. I don't even know how compromised their immune system. Maybe more would die. And there's hundreds of thousands of people on dialysis in the United States. That's a big deal. I don't know how. I have no idea how many are on. I think it's more than 400,000. And so. Oh, I was just, Colleen, I didn't just come up with the idea to hunt cannibals. I was over in India doing other stuff, and I came across the cannibals. And that was when I was, and then I realized there was Americans doing it, Italians, one Russian guy, and so many more. And so I actually went to Italy. I went to Milano, where I went to a place called Mizzago, which is by Milano. And I went to all over. I tracked them in many countries. It was amazingly educational. All right. Got milk. Yeah, I got lots of milk. Yeah, Facebook is much better for commenting. Anthony is saying China was able to mitigate the spread in part because by being able to stop internal travel. Too late, but better late than never. I don't know. I'm not in China. We'll never know the death toll in China. It was clearly been a huge amount. If it was just a small amount that they're saying, they would have not have closed their economy down. It's some huge amount. Clyde is saying, do I think this coronavirus is an engineered biological weapon created by China? I do not know. I do not know. I mean, I don't have any evidence one way or the other. I mean, it could have come from the wet markets. Scientists have been warning us about those wet markets for years. I mean, this is not anything new. They're like, hey, these wet markets are basically like people having their own nuclear reactors at home where they can experiment with to make nuclear weapons, except it's biological. And it's actually, it happens to be, wet markets where they have all these many different types of animals come together with humans. Like certain types of animals in particular, apparently when they mix, like I think civets and some kind of bird or that sort of thing. And I don't know. I'm not an expert on viruses, But it's very interesting to hear the experts talk about this. And the experts, man, they've been warning about it for years. They've been warning crystal clear. And I've read books about it. That's why when this broke and it started breaking in December, I was like, is there anything? What's going on here? And then in January, I was like, red alert. And that's why in January, you started hearing me talk about it and seriously warning about it. In January, that's when I was warning this could actually cost President Trump the election. Because there's just, and I don't want him to lose to Biden or somebody like that appears to have some degenerative issue, or the communist guy Sanders. But the problem is, if this breaks the U.S. economy, which it's on that trajectory to do it at this point, or just kills a lot of people on the staff. I mean, the people that run the United States are generally not younger people. They're generally people that are more at risk than anybody. So what are you going to do? And the Senate is just like going to bring this up after recess. I mean, our government is so pathologically inept. It's really a wonder that the United States is even operating. And I saw somebody say, but then it went, let's see. All right. Now, somebody mentioned, I can't see his comment now, about our grid system is robust, but keep in mind that we have had power outages from other things, and this will not come. Our problems don't come in serial. They don't wait in line. Like, we're still going to have a hurricane season this year, and chances of somebody getting smashed with a hurricane are quite high. We're still going to have forest fires. We're still going to have all this stuff, right? People are still going to have car accidents when the hospitals are overflooded. The chances of the hospitals getting overflooded from this are just like almost unity. They're about as close to 100% as you can get. If it continues on this trajectory, I mean, like 99.999% chance that our hospitals will be over capacity if it continues on this trajectory. And then when you have a broken leg from something, falling off a ladder, or you get poisoned or whatever, snake bit, I mean, what are you going to do? You go to the hospital and there's people dying in the hallways. I mean, that's what we're facing very soon. So self-quarantine while we're sitting here unless you're in Starbucks looking at this, but if you're at home watching this or away from people, out at a park bench, hopefully, or something away from people, then you'll be much safer. But our electrical grid's not necessarily. We have outlets. I mean, we've had outlets. Outages from various things, and it can cascade. Our outages can be tremendous. And remember, as people die from this and are quarantined or whatever, that means people that work on the electrical system. That means people who work on our phones and communications, our water, all of our infrastructure. People that work on all this stuff are going to be. Sorry, I'm checking security. They're going to. They're a lot are not going to be at work for whatever reasons. Maybe they're sick, maybe they're quarantined, maybe they're dead, maybe somebody else in their family sick or dying or something. And so, yeah, and then these things, or keep in mind as well, this is also a moment of opportunity for people to strike us. As when we're in a weakened state, we have a lot of enemies out there that would certainly want to unleash computer viruses on us at a time like this. When we're at our weakest state, there's a lot of people that would love to see the United States back down or crushed down. We should be very clear to anybody who can attack us and who does attack us at this time that our response will be unforgettable. It will be something that they'll never forget, and it won't be break it, you bought it. It'll just be break it, 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 destroyed, finished. Finished. That's the message that needs to be crystal clear. We're not going to come rebuild you. We're not going to help you. We're not even going to send a Band-Aid. If you attack us at this time, we're going to take you out. And that's it. And we're not going to, and you know what we're going to say? It's not going to be, I'm sorry. It's going to be next. So we need to be crystal clear on that. Greg says, oh yeah, ordered a Catadine, hand pump, and Steripen. Good for you. And have 0 water filter and 6 months worth of freeze dried, and have a 0 water filter and have, what's a 0? 6 months of freeze dried food, which means 2 months worth for the 3 of us. Excellent. Excellent. Keep in mind, even if your Kroger's or your Publix or anything like that is wide open right now. I know what Kroger's and Publix look like, man. They got so much food in them. It looks like one Kroger's could feed the entire state of, Ohio or something, right? But as soon as everybody does a run, all that'll be gone, and then their warehouses will be emptied out very quickly. And but think about it. When one person, and this is going to happen. This isn't theory. We know it's happening. We know it's going to happen. People are going to start getting sick at the warehouses. They're going to start getting sick in the grocery stores. They're going to start getting sick, and they're going to start closing, right? Or they're going to have to do special things for people. We already see National Guard up in New York delivering food. This soon, the National Guard's already delivering food. That's ridiculous, man. But it's not ridiculous. It's expected. I mean, that's the sort of people that, that aren't prepared even that soon, which a lot of people I can understand. Not everybody will be for many, many different reasons. But most of us, certainly the sorts of people that read my work or that come on my pages, are the sorts who have the capacity to prepare and have the mental wherewithal. Anybody that listens to me this long is a tough person and has the ability to go prepare. And so make sure, again, I want to say it again, go to the grocery store, walk up and down every aisle, see if there's something there you forgot. And hardware store, do the same. Every aisle. Is there something in there you forgot? Oh, yeah. I need some more duct tape. Everybody needs duct tape in an emergency. I got a lot of that. Make sure you've got everything you need. Enough trash bags. One thing that you can use if your water goes out, you need to think about a toilet. One thing you can do is buy just a little garbage can. And what you can do is take a trash bag, normal trash bag, and put kitty litter in it. That's all you need. Kitty litter in a trash bag inside of a garbage can. That's it. And you got a toilet, right? So if you live in Manhattan or some place and you don't have water, then you'll at least have a toilet. If you live out, in the boondocks of Florida, you just take the shovel out back, But if you don't, if you live, somewhere in a big city, which, a huge amount of our population does, then you're going to have to think about that. Get you some kitty litter, something I learned in the Army, actually. And the preppers do it a lot. And get some, and you can get one of those pool noodles, those pool noodles that put under your arms when you're in a pool or whatever. Get one of those and cut so that, it's like a donut, and you can make that as a little toilet seat, that sort of stuff. There's many ways to do it. Good. Bradley Norman. I bought a ton of food because of what you were saying. Got about 2 months food. Good. Got gas stove and bottles. And the more of us who are prepared, the less stressed when the Army or whatever comes out, who knows? The National Guard's already out up in New York. They don't have to deliver food to us. They can deliver it to the people that need it, right? And we can be part of the solution for starters by not being part of the problem. That's the first part of the solution. And secondly, when you don't have to worry about yourself, then you can actually help other people. And you don't have to ask for help because you can help others. Yeah, Bradley's like entrenching tool. UPA, Colin Smith. So you must be ordering a lot online, Colin Smith. UPS guys hate me now. UPS, for people don't, I think most people in the world know what UPS is now. It's like FedEx. But yeah, so make sure you got a toilet and all that stuff. Here we go. I literally think it's overblown fear-mongering. Problem is, everyone is buying into it. It's mask hysteria. The media is going to destroy the world economy or the common flu. Have fun. Oh, go to the flower store and buy some flowers for yourself so that somebody can put them on your grave. Let's see. I got the Catadine, Barbara saying. Sterapin, Berkey water filter. I can help out others. I need a Berkey, actually. I still don't have a Berkey. I keep saying I'm going to get one, but I didn't get one yet. But I got a Catadine, and I've got the Rachel says she's done the kitty litter thing before. It works. It's very effective. Ryan Trainer saying, I personally know a lot of senior leadership in the Guard across the 54. What do you mean the 54? The tags want their PAOs, that's public affairs officers, to be getting the word out about their domestic role so people aren't freaked out. Actually, you know, in that regard, I guess I could have come back to America to help. When the uniforms are out on the street. Yeah, because, you know, I spent so much time with combat troops, and I was a soldier. And so I can, you know, anything to you know, especially they shouldn't, you don't want people to think that they're out there to take them off to concentration camps or whatever, you know. Obviously that can cause a lot of problems. Clyde Angel Sinif says no one under 50 has died from corona. Bullshit. It's very important to study before you run your mouth. There's a thing called Google. You're on the web right now, right? It doesn't take long. Dennis Clayton says, start watching Doomsday Preppers for additional tips. Important. A lot of people are asking me for tips. Of course, I don't know what your situation is. If you live in a big city somewhere, then you've got one problem set, and only you will know what it is because you're the only one that knows what your situation is. You know, it's your financial situation, your water situation, your whatever situation. You're the only one that really knows. And so if you live in, you know, in the backwoods of Arkansas, then it's a very different problem set than living in downtown Los Angeles. Very different than living in Alaska or Hawaii, right? And even in Hawaii, you could have many different issues on different islands in different parts of the islands, right? So the best thing to do is find preppers who live in your area, because there's people that think about this stuff all the time and they've thought through a lot of problems. And a lot of them have YouTube pages. So like, let's say you live in Hawaii, go like YouTube, go to YouTube or whatever and go Preppers Hawaii, right? So Survival Hawaii or something, Preppers Hawaii. And then you'll almost certainly find people that live in Hawaii who are like, hey, this is one thing. And hey, there's a creek up here, you know, on, you know, so-and-so ridge or whatever. That water's really, you know, that water's always running. You know what I mean? Just, you know, where's the water? Where's everything? That sort of, you know, and, you know, you guys got a lot of fruit growing out in your jungles out in Hawaii, not on all the islands, I think, but, you know, I mean, there's all kinds of, you know, ways to, I built a wood-fired oven last year. I got grain and grain mill too. I'm pretty well prepared. Good stock of wood on hand too. Does it taste good? What you mean at the world level? I don't know what you're referring to, Wei Shan, because your comment may have come long before. The Canadian prepper is very good at advice. Wait. Let's see. Yeah, Mormons are prepared. Actually, the Mormons I've known in the Army tend to be actually like especially squared away people, actually. Like one of my special forces friends was a Mormon. He was always prepared, man. He taught me a lot of stuff. Let's see. Dave Cottrell saying, big store in the next town here in BC, Sunshine Coast, is out of food. It's out of food already. There is no official notice of anyone with the virus over here, but the stores are selling out of food. They are sold out of toilet paper a long time ago. There are people in self-quarantine over here, but there is no official number for this place. This is a peninsula that is only accessible by boat or plane and very spread out with 35,000 people over about 100 miles of Highway 101. What a beautiful highway. Lots of people think a place like this is safe, but the people here, thank goodness, are taking it seriously. Some are late, but at least they are taking it seriously. Good. Educated people, I think, tend to take it more seriously, but that's not always true. Look at Dr. Drew. I mean, he's educated, and he's, quite idiotic, actually. And there's quite a lot of people, actually, that are very, very well educated and who are complete idiots on this. Like to the point where you're just, I don't know what to say. And people with less education are completely prepared because they're smarter. Greg Holmes saying tag equals the adjustment general. You mean the adjutant general for the state territory? 54 equals 50 states plus 4 territories. Actually, I wondered if that's what you meant. Colorado Air National Guard retired. Yeah, if you know people in the National Guard and they end up having to get deployed, which, man, I'm going to guess maybe all 50 states at some point. If you know anybody that's in the National Guard and they're getting activated, make sure to support them. Let's see. Tommy is saying, my son is telling me Kroger and HEB, what's HEB, in his area is completely out of meat. Yeah, street smart, exactly. Adjutant General. Let's see. Larry is saying, so Illinois just spoke with a relative nearly out of food. Okay, here's another way to get food right now. That for me, I just take my gun out of the closet if I was in Florida and I just go hunt. Florida's got so much wild meat running around. I used to hunt it all the time. I wouldn't go hungry. Pull the cattails out and make flour out of the cattails But when it comes to most people obviously can't do that. Now, if your Krogers are out of food, there's other ways to do this. Get MREs, meals ready to eat, is one thing. You can order those probably still. Can somebody look that up on meals ready to eat and see if there's any that's available right now? And I would get an absolute minimum of 30 days per person. That's minimum. And if you've got a bigger budget, get more. Vincent said, that's true. There's fist fights in Walmarts over hand sanitizers. By the way, there's a lot of comments. I'm not even seeing them all, so I'm not ignoring somebody. There's just so many. But I saw an article about hand sanitizer smuggling out of Australia, where you could go to 7 years in prison, I think, for that, right? 7 years. And also some other countries too. Thailand, was it hand sanitizer in Thailand or PPE, personal protection equipment? And also India, China, and quite a few others, actually. So it's getting to the point where every man for himself, you know what I mean? Every country for themselves. It's funny, when President Trump would say America first, and people get so upset, and I'll be like, every country I've been to puts their country first. Do you think any country we'll put America first and then we'll put Cambodia? No, that's not how this works. It's every country will put itself first, period. And then, like when the United States has a lot of extra time and money and everything, then our nurses and doctors and other missionaries and everybody else, they spread out around the world and they help people. But at a time like this, some people are like, what's America going to do for Africa? I'm like, what's Africa going to do for Africa? They've had like 1 million years to evolve. You know what I mean? So what Africa needs to do something for Africa. And South America needs to do something for South America. The United States at this point is about to be a bleeding country. And so it's going to have to look out for itself. Everybody will have to, all of us who have prepared, we will be part of the solution. Almost everybody that comes on here will be part of the solution. First of all, we're mentally prepared for it. So we're not going to be shocked. We're not going to go, whoa, why didn't somebody warn me about this? We're going to be, well, here, let me go get some good food. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be eating crap. Go look for MREs and meals ready to eat. And I like them. Some people say they don't like them. I think they're crazy. I've eaten a lot of MREs when I was in the Army and then when I was in the wars. And man, if I had 100 MREs here, I would be eating those sometimes, you know. I like them. I don't know why some people don't like them. I just think they're crazy. But make sure when you shop too, because you can order online food from different places. They might be out in their warehouses, but go ahead and put your order in, obviously. And make sure that you've got plenty of spices and things that make you enjoy the foods, right? Make sure that you have, if you like Tabasco or whatever, peppers of all sorts. Make sure you got salt, good salt, none of that crappy stuff. Get good sea salt and stuff that makes you happy when you eat it. You don't want to be like, I'm surviving now, so I can only eat tuna fish that's just in spring water and no mayonnaise with it. You know, get some good stuff, man. So when you eat it, you're like, man, I love this. I mean, you know, like so many things to, you know how to make food, just do it. But just remember too that that your electricity could go out, and so be prepared to quickly munch down all your frozen foods. You know, if it comes down to that, and to be able to cook that without electricity. All right. Chris said, just came from commissary. Plenty of shelves cleared. Where are you at, Chris? Commissary. When he says commissary, he's on a military base probably, or it could be some other sorts of government things. But generally, that would mean military. So like Navy or Army or whatever. Where are you at? Let's see. See, I get a lot of interesting comments here. This one, I love to come online and talk. So many people are just checking in and telling you what's going on here and there. Ernst Wood, I went 20 minutes early, and by the time they opened, there was about 60 people on the line on Tuesday morning. What are you talking about, Cecilia Thompson? GFS is stock too. Where's GFS? What is it? HEB is mostly in Texas. Tommy Barrio says, is that a good store? If it's in Texas, it's probably a good store. Oh yeah. Good point. Gemma Stone is saying local Amish stores for bulk items. Very good idea. In Quakers also, you know, Amish will be squared away for sure. Amish will be squared away. They are exceptional people, and they make good stuff, man. They make, like, I used to buy stuff from Amish in Ohio. I used to have an Amish girlfriend. Let's see. Okay. $25 each, Kirk is saying, for an MRE. Good grief, man. Touch my head. Shouldn't be doing that. $25 each. Man. Normally, maybe $5, right? Maybe, let me turn this aircon off. Chris Jensen saying, panic buying in Oklahoma. Walmart workers can't get the food on the shelf before it goes. Yeah, man. There they go. There it goes. Remember, since January, who's been saying it? Who's your daddy? Remember, year after year after year after year, on topic after topic after topic after topic, I have been ahead of the curve when I talk like this. When you hear me couching my language, going, da, 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 and I'm kind of equivocate, you know, like I'm not, you know, then, you know, then I'm not quite so sure. But when I'm talking like this, so directly, like, you need to do this now, then I would highly suggest it, because I'm never saying an alarm like this without a very high degree of confidence that what I'm saying is either truthful or will bear out as roughly as I predict. And this is bearing out so far very close, if not exactly as I'm predicting so far. I don't know how the timeline is going to be. When is our peak going to be in the United States? And it'll be different peaks around the country listening to the infectious disease experts. Like, California, Washington, Seattle, and all that probably is going to peak earlier because it's got hit, in different parts of America. Probably all these, listen to the experts. They'll tell you about this. There'll be different peaks at different times around the world. People are saying, why isn't it happening in Africa? Who knows? I mean, first of all, who's testing in Africa? And secondly, again, even in the United States right now, if we weren't testing, and how much testing are we doing? But nobody would actually have noticed yet. For instance, even what's happened in Italy so far, crushing them. I wonder if in any African country, or in most African countries, if anybody would have even actually noticed yet, because they might just be going, oh, it's something else, or they don't have the surveillance. Sorry, they don't have the surveillance mechanisms in place. The United States obviously doesn't either. We do, but they're clearly not using them. And this is what I want to say again, and this is important. Web search my name, like Michael.Yon, Wikileaks, not Wikipedia, but Wikileaks, and Stratfor, and you'll see an internal document that came, or emails that came out when Wikileaks, all those classified documents came out, and you'll see Stratfor, which is a private intelligence company which services a lot of very serious people. A lot of our national level intelligence actually comes from private intelligence company. Anyway, a huge amount does. And but anyway, you can see Stratfor in their internal documents, which I never would have seen without WikiLeaks. They're talking about how ahead of the ball I am. And this is like 2006 and 2011 or something like that. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not, and that we're not even talking about the Iraq Civil War, where I was way ahead. I was a year and a half ahead on that. Afghan issues, I was at least 3 years in advance, and always getting flack. Always, if you're getting flack, you're over the target. Sometimes you're getting flack, you're just wrong. But whenever I'm talking this confidently about something, you really should listen. And you're going to watch people always shoot at me. You still see clowns coming on here like it's just the flu. Stop panicking. You're like, I'm not panicking. I got everything I need, bro. You're panicking. You should, if you haven't bought your food yet and you're watching my live stream, good luck. And if you think I'm going to cry for you, I'm not. Let's see. The people I'll cry for and help will be the ones who prepared and then something bad happened. Those are the people I'll do, backflips to help. But the people who didn't prepare and who were just like, you were panicking, I'll be like, you're on your own. Have fun. This is how you get your basic training. Remember, when I was a kid, I was hungry sometimes, right? Because of things that happened, like my mother died and some other things. So, I mean, I know what it's like to things aren't going well, right? So that's not going to happen again. Or let's put it like this. If it happens again, it will not be because I wasn't ready for it. It'll be because something else. Let's see. Emmanuel is saying, while I wrote this is a cause, had UK man said if Nigeria divide the world. I don't, Emmanuel, I don't exactly understand what you're saying. I guess you're in Nigeria. While I wrote this is a cause, had UK man said if Nigeria divide, that world will break down financially. What does that mean? China's economy is already badly damaged, and the United States economy is badly damaged already, but it's not quite showing it. It is showing it actually, but it's about to show it big time. And again, you do not need to be Warren Buffett to see this. You do not need to be that at all. There gets to be a certain, at some point, you're like, I can see it just as well as the general can. Like, I don't need a general to tell me about airplanes running into buildings, right? I didn't need a general to tell me that we were in a civil war in Iraq when I was like so far ahead of them, or that we were losing the war in Afghanistan in 2006. I didn't need them. I didn't need anybody. I didn't need the CDC in January to tell me that we got a massive problem coming out of China on this virus, right? I'm not an infectious disease expert. There was sufficient information there that an educated person, even without specialty education, should have said that is a problem. It's like firefighter. You don't need to be a firefighter to see a big fire unfolding in Australia, right? Likewise with our economic problems now. You do not need to be an economist to see this. You do not need to be an economist to see a factory burn down and realize that that's going to affect their bottom line, right? And right now, we're going to have massive closures. That's very clear. Stopping many flights already from different places. All kinds of things are about to happen that have not happened yet. And I've been saying since January, eventually this is going to avalanche, and it's going to be fast. It's going to be like snap. And, and then all of a sudden, all the shelves are going to be empty. I've been seeing that since January. And then just said this all through February, and it's like it hasn't happened yet. It's like waiting for the great pumpkin, right? It's coming, because that's how exponential functions work. People who understand exponential functions get this. They go like this. It looks like nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Uh-oh, those people were just Chicken Little. They were screaming, panicking, and nothing's happening. And still nothing's happening. And you're almost at the end of the screen, and boom, vertical. Goes vertical. And right into low Earth orbit, and then it peaks and re-enters, also exponentially, but on the other side of the curve. So we will get through it. But the thing is, then the virus will still be with us. And there could be a second wave that can be much worse. But the economies around the world will be very seriously damaged, as it is here in Thailand already. And it hasn't even really hit yet. But the economy is already badly damaged in Thailand. And so there you go. Let's see here. Shelves in Prescott Walmart. Prescott, are you talking about Prescott, Arizona? Let's see. Walmart empty. You mean like the food section of Walmart, or like what sections? Man, take pictures. Everybody make sure you take pictures of this now, because this is a historical moment in time, and you either take the picture now or you don't. Even if the shelves are full, take the pictures, right? And because nothing like this is probably the worst. This could be the worst global event ever. Like worse than anything, worse than 1918, because of so many other things that are happening now, that like the world population is, over 7 billion now, maybe, who knows, 7.5 billion. Sorry, I'm checking security. I mean, there's the world population is huge, and our economies are so interlaced, and there's so many now, and so many. The problem set is so much bigger now. If things go sideways, I mean, this is like, road warrior stuff. I mean, so we're looking at a situation that the world has never actually seen before. The next approximation was probably 1918 on pandemic side, but this will probably kill a lot. Just the virus, not including economic downturns and other people who don't get treatment for their other, like car accidents, couldn't get treatment because not enough doctors, not enough beds. Just this virus will probably kill more people than World War II and World War I combined, is my guess. And that's just the virus part. We'll see. We'll all know when we know. But make sure you're taking pictures. Also, because if you're young now, when you get old and you're telling your kids this, your kids are going to be like, oh, mom and dad were exaggerating. And then you'll be like, no. You see, that store right there, this is what it looked like 30 years ago. The shelves were completely empty, right? It was like that store that's completely stocked now. That's the way it was, so that we can imbue upon the next generation what we're about to go through, because we're about to go through something very serious, and we're going to do it together, and we're going to come out strong, and we're going to take a lot of casualties along the way. Several U.S. troops in Afghanistan are experiencing flu-like symptoms, but have tested negative for influenza, according to Representative Mark Pocon. Now there are concerns, no tests. Bellis Chuck is saying, in USA, I did the math. You're talking 78 million dead if 3%. Or is that 7.8? I can't see how many decimals that is, but I would say certainly not 78 million in the United States, but certainly the death rate in the United States could be extremely big. And again, there's not just from this virus, it's all the other things that then come when you can't get a hospital bed or any treatment at all. And also how many of our doctors and nurses are about to die from this. We always have a chronic shortage of nurses. Unless that's been rectified. Greetings. Yeah. Ted saw a lady walking her dog in Prescott, Arizona, wearing an N95 mask. Let's see. They're telling him, okay. Kim Self Mashad is saying, I have a friend who is an OTR trucker. What is OTR? OTR. Anyway, when he pulls in to drop or pick up a load, they are telling him to stay in his truck, and they are wearing gloves and masks. Yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing, exact same thing. You should probably not even get out of the delivery trucks at the if you're delivering to Walmart or Kroger or wherever, Publix, my favorite. Update. Let's see. Donald Babadelier is saying, an update, an in-law who saw a manager at Sam's Club, similar to Costco. In Sam's Club, for people who haven't been to the United States or wherever they have them, is these huge, huge warehouses filled with, like, you have to go. I mean, it's like nothing. I know there's some big stores in Thailand, but if you're a Thai and you've been into a Sam's Club, you'll know what I mean. It is phenomenal. And let's see. Sam's Club in Colorado said that last week the hype was around toilet paper, toiletries, sanitizers. This week the hype is around dairy, milk, and cheeses. The panic buying is going through phases. I imagine the egg meats will be next. Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah. I've mentioned that as well, that it's for some reason people that have been through this many times will say it goes like, and also make sure you do get vitamins like vitamin D. Like I got a bunch of extra cheese and milk. Like he said, milk and cheese, right? I got a lot of extra milk and cheese, vitamin D. And also I got vitamin D pills, and I go out and get in the sunlight. Remember, we got summertime coming. You can get yourself some vitamin D, right? Go out in the sunlight. If you're black or you're dark Asian or Hispanic, you might have to spend more time in the sun. And according to, from what I've read, but you need to look that up and get some scientific backing on what I'm saying. But I believe what I just said is actually accurate. So I believe what I just said is scientifically accurate, but I'm sorry. I don't have a source to quote you, but I don't read garbage. That's why when people send me garbage links, I'm like, don't even send me garbage links. I don't even want to see it because it can pollute my mind with, you got to be careful not to read garbage because you can get source amnesia and not realize if you read a bunch of garbage and a bunch of true stuff, then they can mix in there. So just keep it pure. Only read from really reliable sources. There's only so much you can read anyway. So stick to the reliable stuff, which is very hard to come by on this disease, isn't it? But do I have time to cash on Wednesday next week? I'm worried, but check in the mail. I don't know what you're talking about. Sam's very well. Larry is saying my Sam's is very, very low on meat and coolers. I have pictures. Make sure to Keep all those pictures and put them on your social media because, this is, or put them in these comments. Actually, if anybody's ever leaving any comments, any photos in here, I'm not seeing, they're not coming up in my comments. Barbara said she forgot shampoo. Luckily, that's not a tier 1 issue like water, but you'll end up with greasy hair. That's okay. Actually, it's better to have shampoo though, of course, for this. Or just go the way I do, seriously. And I read that Chinese nurses and doctors were shaving their heads and all hair on their bodies actually because of this. No meat at Sam's at all is what Barbara just said. No meat at Sam's at all, man. Anybody ever been to a Sam's store? If you're American, you probably have. But like there are some big grocery stores in Thailand, but the biggest grocery store I've seen in Thailand would be almost like one aisle almost in one of these mega stores in the United States. They are massive. And I mean, they got like forklifts running around and stuff. You know what I mean? They're unbelievable. But when these events happen, like hurricanes or whatever, they're out. They're out. And we do a lot of just-in-time jet business in the United States and have for many years. It's nothing new. I mean, Walmart and all these have warehouses, of course, and they're actually at geographically opportune places, like in certain places in Florida and that sort of thing. But there's only so much they carry as well. Dana Dean, but Michael said the last eggs for months. Oh man, don't be throwing away eggs unless you kept them out in the sun. Okay, here's how to deal with the egg issue. If your eggs are really old, unless if they've been sitting in the sun, they're toast. But if they've been in your refrigerator, you wash your hands, of course. Wash the egg, and then crack it open and see how it smells. If it doesn't smell rotten, cook that bad boy up. Cook one up, cook one egg, and then if that one's good, which probably will be, and then just cook the rest. Boil them good, or cook them however you want them. I love eggs, man. Eggs. I was off in the fighting in Hong Kong, and I left eggs in my refrigerator for months. I came back, and I was like, I'm not throwing these things away, man. I hate throwing away food. I just am against it. I guess it comes from I was hungry sometimes when I was a kid, and also my grandparents, when I finally went and lived with them, things got much better. But they also had lived through rough times. So I've been imbued with this culture and my personal experience. Thou shalt not throw away food. You don't waste a piece of string. I don't like wasting money. I don't like wasting time. And I don't like wasting food. I'm Japanese when it comes like that. Over the road trucker is what Jan is saying. Okay, on the OTR. Over the road. How did I ever not know that? Are you in Australia? Is that an American way of saying it? Because if that's an American way of saying it, I should have known that. I mean, my American English is pretty good. Let's see. What about, Kimberly is asking, what about the percent of U.S. population that are baby boomers? I don't know what you're asking, so you may have been referring to something else, but I don't see what you're referring to. Yeah, don't throw away eggs until you've tested at least one. No meat at Sam's at all. Okay. Stock up on St. Patrick's Day, corned beef packs. Yeah, and also some guys have been talking about you can clean your hands with vodka or whatever, right? I don't keep any of that stuff around. I don't drink, but one doctor was on giving a program the other day, and he was like, you can't wash your hands with that because the alcohol is not sufficiently high. It's not concentrated enough. So if you're improvising ways to clean your hands, that apparently is not one. Barbara Spalding, eggs and meat in her stores are gone. Gedalia Simchi, meats weren't touched at my Ralph's just yet. Ralph's are good stores. Well, go make sure you got enough. Let's see. Forgot the shampoo. Dana Dean, eggs can last yeah, Wei Sean says eggs can last if the refrigerator continues to work. And if your refrigerator goes out, obviously you know which things to eat first. Nail those first, and then work your way down quickly. And even if you have to stuff yourself, try not to throw it away, even if you can store it as fat. You know what I mean? Because that's another way of storing it. It's like before I throw something away because it's going to get bad, I'm going to eat it and turn it to fat. That's how frugal I am, man. I'm like, I'd rather be fat than waste food. Let's see. My Sam's very, very low on meat coolers. I have pictures. Yeah, man. Wait till it's not even here yet. We haven't been hit yet here in Thailand and in the United States and Europe, except for Italy, has not really been hit yet. It's coming. It's coming. This is the calm. This is still the calm before the storm. Deb Daly said, Deli. That's why the guns and bullets. That's right. I wonder how much ammo is going for now. Let's see. But let's see. Some filling stations are running out of diesel in the UK. Yeah, that's another thing Steve Hayes is saying. Make sure you're in fact, I just got new tires put on vehicle and oil change and all that. Make sure you've done all that. Make sure you got a tank of gas. Make sure you got plenty of butane, propane, plenty of batteries, plenty of all those things. Just walk around your house. What do I need? What's going to stop working here? You know what I mean? And then of course, go to your grocery store and your hardware store and walk every aisle slowly. Look up and down at every single thing. And I've done that, and I'll be like, ooh, I'm glad I did this, because you forget stuff. Let's see. Bellis, do you think banks still open in 5 days in USA? I don't know. Because people could run on banks. You know, that's why I'm warning. Likewise here in Thailand, there's many things happening that are very, like banks. Some of the banks are offering, you can just take days off and don't pay. Just take as many days off as you want. There's businesses here doing that in Thailand now. Many, many things happening right now in Thailand. This is getting ready to hit. And Alice Robin says, all distilled water was gone from our Walmart. Yeah, Sam's is owned by Walmart. They're the same company. Or, I don't know. They used to be. I read Sam Walton's book, man, called Made in America. Man, that was a good book. It was kind of simple. It was simply written. It was a really very interesting story. Gedea Simcha saying we need a vaccine or just even treatment to be approved stat. There's not going to be. Don't put your hopes on a vaccine. We still don't have a vaccine for SARS. We don't have a vaccine for AIDS. 39 million people have died from AIDS. 39 million. It's not happening. Even if we had a vaccine tomorrow, imagine how long it's going to take to make enough doses. If we had an approved vaccine right now, I hear a jet going over. So I guess the airport's still open. If we had a vaccine right now, imagine how long it would take to make enough hundreds of millions of doses, billions, to go around the world, and to vaccinate across Europe and Asia and the United States, Canada and Mexico. That is a long time. We're talking, I don't know how long, but it's a long, long time. First, you got to make it, then you got to get it there, and then you got to give it, then you got to take the shots, and then it's got to work. There's no way. I'll give you the equivalent. That's like a guy 500 yards away pulls the trigger on a rifle, and you decide to put your body armor on then. You ain't going to have that body armor on in time. the bullet's going to be here in like, I don't know, a couple seconds. It depends on the rifle, but you know what I mean? And it's the same with this disease. It's the United States is going to hit at least one peak here soon, and Italy, they'll be peaking soon. And United States might be May or so. They don't know. June, they don't know. It's going to peak in different parts in the United States as well. And likewise in Italy, like the North Italy part will probably peak a lot sooner than the South, because it's now spreading to the South. And so it's not like the one country all happens at once, right? And it's not like all fruit come ripe at the same time. A lot of questions here. Let me knock down. Looking around, Tom Colbert saying a lot of Americans seem famine resistant to meat. That's right. A lot of Americans are fat, so this is a good opportunity. Like me, I got some extra fat. No problem. You can easily start fasting unless you got like type 1 diabetes, that sort of thing. Dana Dean is saying we might get mandated for there is no vaccine for this, period. It does not exist. If anybody's telling you that on chat rooms or whatever, block them. It does not exist. Don't spend time with people putting out any stuff like that if you're seeing that. Yeah, this virus does not have one. There is no vaccine for this virus. It does not exist. Bellis Chuck saying, I own a company that has a vaccine testing in April on human. Will only have 1 million doses by year's end, not public until 2021. This thing will have long crested by then. Long crested. Kim is saying she has type 2 diabetes. Well, I don't know. You may have already read a lot about that, but like Jason Fung, his last name is spelled Fung. He's a Canadian nephrologist, kidney doctor, right? Go look on YouTube, look at some of his work on fasting. And then he's got at least 3 books because I've read at least 3 of them. And I don't have diabetes, but I've read on diabetes because ain't nobody in America or Thailand that doesn't know somebody with diabetes. That Thais, as fit looking as they are, many Thais have diabetes, and they're like not fat like Americans. But many Thais have diabetes. Everybody knows somebody that's got diabetes, and so it's good to know something about it. Let's see. Naomi is saying, Mike Morgan, remember a movie about the ravages of the Black Plague? It was so bad they had death wagons and went around the city picking up the bodies. They couldn't haul them off quickly enough. Yeah, it's like bring out your dead, Monty Python. Ding, bring out your dead. Ding. I love Monty Python. Often I feel like the guy that's warning about the killer rabbit. He's got very sharp teeth, and you're like, if more people listen, more people will not be dead. Like the Iraq Civil War, if we had taken action earlier on that, we would have saved a lot of lives. Alexis is saying, I'm so confused about the coronavirus. Where did it come from? Well, it may have, I'm looking at my cameras, it may have come from a wet market in Wuhan, China. That's where it may have come from. And speaking of bring out your dead, I mean, look up mass graves, Iran. It looks like that they're digging mass graves with backhoes now. That China appears to be doing. Not China, Iran. Leah is saying, why do I think Iran got hit so fast and hard? Lots of Iranian tourists in China, or were they maybe present when the initial leak happened? I do not know. There could be all kinds of different things, and I know enough about this to be dangerous. I know, so I'll be cautious. But I do know that, especially with all the countries and cultures I've been with, I've spent more than half my life outside of the United States, and then I've lived around the United States quite a lot, and so I've been with many different cultures. And some cultures do things that would spread diseases like this more, like many mainland Chinese will just cough and sneeze in the open, like on February 5th when I was getting deported from Hong Kong. There was, if you were on my Facebook, you remember this Chinese lady was on the airplane and just sneezed on the airplane. That was February 5th. And I immediately like put on social media, like, Chinese woman just sneezed all over the airplane. I had my mask on and stuff, but I mean, I was just like, unbelievable. I don't know if that saved me. I mean, I never showed any symptoms. So, it's just, that's normal. Some cultures are like that and they'll spit all over the place. A lot of Indians will do that as well in India. And remember, one of the ways that we defeated the Indians, American Indians, wasn't really through rifles and the cavalry and all that stuff. It was disease. When my family came over in 1609 and finally got to Jamestown in 1610, and then others, like the Puritans and the Pilgrims came later, actually. My family came before them, my mother's side, and the Easons. And there were so many diseases that got laid on to the Indians. You see where xenophobia can come from. The Xenos show up and everybody dies from smallpox or whatever, measles or something, chicken pox, or all, so many different, common cold. I mean, so many things that can kill somebody who's, remember, for the Native Americans, the Indians, for them, coming up with even a common cold could have been like coming up with Ebola. You know what I mean? It's like, you should read some of the old reports. I've read some of the old stuff, like 400 years old. One of them, it was Puritans or Pilgrims, were saying, they were up in Massachusetts. Who was it? And they were saying, talking about like the Indians crawling on the ground, needing water. So, because they're so sick from the diseases we brought. And one of the new settlers, it was like, I felt so bad for the Indian or whatever, just giving them water and stuff. Like, they were just like laid down. I mean, we basically beat the Indians more through disease than anything else. You can see where xenophobia comes from, certainly from that. And you can see it popping its head up in different places now. But anyway, what I was getting to with Iran, there's different strains of this. There's the L and the S strain. Again, I'm not a virologist, so I'm going to be careful here. And the L apparently is more dangerous than the S, and it appears that the Iranians have the L. That's what I've read. That could be one thing. It could be their medical care. It could be cultural things where everybody touching shrines and that sort of thing, or I don't know what they do, because Iran's a complex place. There's more than one religion there and more than one way to worship. I don't know, eating group food as many people do in this part of the world and that part of the world, sharing with your fingers and that sort of thing can also do it. Rachel looks Finnica. My family got sick of the English and came here. I think that's how my family got here as well. Let's see. Let me see what Alexis Hood is saying. Wow. Just got a notification that Publix grocery stores closed at 8 p.m. here in Atlanta, Georgia, due to the crowds of people. Unbelievable. I've been to Publix in Atlanta, and let me tell you, man, it's like spaceship. It's like finest grocery stores in the world that I've seen. And even better than the Publix's down in Florida, where Publix started. Like, the first Electric Eye Publix door was in my hometown. It used to be right across from the gym. That was when, oh gosh, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. Everybody, my home county will be upset by that. George Jenkins. He started his store. I think his first store was in Lakeland, right? And then his second store, I think, was in Winter Haven at my town, right? I think. Somebody's here to fix something electrically, and so you hear my dog barking. And sorry, but anyway, but the Publixes are really incredible supermarkets. My first job when I was 14 years old was at a Publix. Man, it was hard work. They taught me a lot of good things. And I love Publix. It's weird how people where I'm from actually have respect for Publix for some reason, but it's because of the way they treated us when we worked there and make you work hard. But you got a fair you got fair money for what you did though, and they taught a lot. They treated you good, treated you respectfully, and but they're great stores. But then as Kroger started to move south, Kroger's another great store. But I used to live in Ohio. The Kroger stores in Ohio at that point were not very good. But as they got closer and moved south and were starting to come into competition with Publix, then both the Krogers and the Publix became spectacular, right? So like Atlanta is one of the battlegrounds, right? That sort of area, I think South Carolina too, and North Carolina. I don't know. Anyway, all those battlegrounds. That's why competition is so good. Americans are so good at competition. But we know when Publix was way down in Florida, they were great grocery stores, and Kroger was great up in Ohio and stuff, but not anything like where they started to compete like down in Georgia. They were unbelievable. If you go to America, you don't even go to Disney. Forget that, man. Go to Kroger's, go to Publix. You know what I mean? And if you've never been to an American grocery store, if you've never been to America before, you're going to be like, holy smokes. No wonder all you Americans are so fat. I mean, it's like, you got so much good food here, man. It looks like you died and went to heaven until this happens. Uh-oh. I may have to go. Or maybe not. Let's see. There's an electrical issue. Let's see. We have Fred Meyer's owned by Kroger. Fred Meyer's. Are they good stores? Or if they're owned by Kroger's, I'll bet they're good stores. Kim, I can get my eggs from her. Thank goodness my niece has chickens. I can get my eggs from her. Yes, a lot of my family and stuff. Well, they won't have any problem. Because of stuff like that. All right. Hey, SB. Let's see. Here you see a picture of no food in Swiss. Chi is saying, here you can see pictures of no food in a Swiss groceries today. Oh, du bist in der Schweiz. Sachi. Are you Thai? Where does that name come from? Sachi. But you're in Switzerland. Or I guess you're in Switzerland. I don't know. Mark Steppenbach. The disease exchange saw cuts both ways. One theory is that syphilis originated in the New World and it has brought back to Europe. It's still a mystery. That's true. Christopher Columbus and all that went back, and apparently maybe that's where the venereal diseases came from. Colleen F. Rambo, the L strain was the most prevalent strain in Wuhan. I wonder what strains are going across the United States now. It's undoubtedly both, and undoubtedly both. I wonder if there's more. I mean, I'm not a infectious disease expert, but I love to listen to scientists. I always love to listen to scientists, even if we're not facing Armageddon. This is not going to be Armageddon. The world's not going to end. It's going to end for a lot of people, but it's not going to end, and the world will keep turning. And this is the chance for everybody to shine and show what you're made of, and do a good job, and show leadership. And all you military guys that don't have a mission because there's no war going on right now, now you got one. Take care of everybody around you. Let's see. Man, that's Alex saying the Publix closed. Colleen saying there's evidence of a huge population in the Mississippi Valley that were wiped out by Europeans. I think you're talking about 1500s, I think, right? Like before even Jamestown, I think. Because a lot of people think that like the Pilgrims or Puritans and all that were first. They're not. My parents came in 1609, and they only came, the Pilgrims came in 1620, right? They came later. And others before my family, like Spanish and stuff, they had settlements like in Florida, 1590 or so. And then some others. I mean, there were settlements in the United States, or not in the United States, in America, in the 1500s. Of course, Columbus, 1492, but that was just a reconnaissance, right? And then others started to come. Let's see. Yeah, Mike Morgan, cremation time. Yeah, thank you for acknowledging that we regarding the native. I don't know what you mean, but I don't think I doubt we would have ever beat the Indians. I'm talking American Indians. I doubt we would have ever beat them if the diseases didn't wipe most of them out because they're good fighters. Very good. In fact, they're still fighting, man. They ain't gave up yet. They're still, I mean, respect. That's why we named so many weapons after them, like Apache helicopters and Kiowa warriors, and man, just all we name all kinds of stuff after them. Redskins football team. Um, they're tough, man. They could fight. Uh, but we overwhelmed the many tribes through disease is one thing, and just and outbreeding too. Because remember, when our families first came to America, I mean, we bred like crazy. I mean, like today it might be 2 or 3 kids, right? Or 1 or 2 kids. And back then, man, they were pushing them out. It'd be like, 10, 15 kids. You know what I mean? They were making litters. They were making, like a whole farm crew, I mean, and there was, I think, many reasons for that. One is a lot of kids died from disease. If you go up to some of the old cemeteries, like up in North Carolina, up in Cataloochee area or Western North Carolina, you go to some of those old family cemeteries, and there's a lot of graves in there. It'll be like, baby Jezebel, she'll be like died in 2 years old, and it'll be so many. It'll be a lot of them are just kids. So there'll be a lot of them are like really young kids, and then very old, and then fewer that are in between, but dying very young. So they'd have a lot of kids, and also, there was so much land. I mean, there was just so much land, and the gifts in America, like the soil is so incredibly good, and the water and the climates. We got so many climates. It's just fantastic. There was so we overwhelmed Indians with disease. We bred like crazy, and superior weapons and superior organization as well. Like the tribes could never come together because the Native Americans, the Native American Indians, were like Afghanistan in many ways today, insofar as they're all fighting each other. They're always they. It's not like it was one Indian tribe. It was like thousands of Indian tribes with uncountable languages that were never even documented. And Sachi, in a village at Bergamo in Italy, there are so many dead people that there is no free spot in the cemetery. Man. Pamela Green is saying Ohio schools are closed for 3 weeks, I believe. I homeschool, so it doesn't affect me. Good. Excellent. Well, not excellent that schools are closed, but I'm very happy you got the kids at home or child at home. Good chance to talk about exponential functions and also about pandemics. I mean, what better time to learn about pandemics than now? This is like the time of your life to become. I wonder how many infectious disease experts are like 8 years old right now, and they're going to see what kind of a tremendous effect this has on their life, and then they're going to end up being geniuses in epidemiology and all sorts of other things that we're going to need because they see what kind of a severe effect this is about to have on us. Let's see, Tommy Barrios, and he somehow slipped through the protocols and meant to stop such. Weishan is saying, at its core, it came from bats. I'm talking about the virus. How it got to humans is not truly known yet. Yeah. Like MERS apparently came from bats. And maybe then I think went to camels. And interesting, last night I was out watching bats. Man, some of these bats I was watching last night, they were flying very fast. There's so many different types of bats in the world. And this type here, and I didn't have my camera with me, but they were flying so fast. They're flying much faster than bats that I'm used to seeing. And they were mostly in pairs, which is strange. Normally, I don't see bats in pairs, and they were definitely pats. They were not swallows. You know what I mean? I'm a bird watcher, man. I grew up in Florida too, and I lived all over. I've seen loads of bats. I've made gazillions of bat photos. They were definitely bats, but I don't ever remember seeing bats like going together. You know, they were like many of them. There was pairs, not all. There was some individuals, but mostly there were pairs. That was strange. I don't remember ever having seen that before. Maybe some batologist out there will know what kind that is in Chiang Mai, Thailand, that flies super fast. They're like a medium-sized bat, let's say that big. And maybe some, and kind of big actually, and fly very fast, and they seem to be going in pairs. Tommy Barrios, epidemiologist on John Batchelor's show, laid this virus right at the door of the Wuhan lab, saying it was a worker most likely bitten by an infected animal. I love John Batchelor's show. I go on twice a week with Gordon Chang. Man, I love that show. I've been listening to it for years. I was so honored when they asked me to come on. Gordon Chang asked me in Hong Kong to come on the John Batchelor show. And he was like as if I was going to say no. You know what I mean? He's like, something like, hello, Michael. You know how he talks, you know, he's like real polite and everything, you know, and he's like, hello, something like, hello, Michael. Something like, I was just wondering, would you consider coming on the John Batchelor show? And I was like, Gordon Chang's asking me to come on the John Batchelor show? You think I'm going to say no to that? I was like, yeah, I'll come on the John Batchelor show. I've been telling people for years to listen to read Gordon Chang. Sorry, Chang. I say Chang because I live in Thailand. Chang is the Chinese way to say it. Gordon Chang, in Thailand, they say Chang, which means elephant. But Gordon Chang, I've been reading his work for years, and like, yeah, I'll send people links. Like, hey, man, read this from Gordon Chang. And then so next thing you know, I'm sitting at a table with him in Hong Kong. I was like, hey, Gordon, I read your work all the time, man. How's it going? And then and we talked for a while. I was like, man, this dude's smart. And then later he asked me if I'd come on the show. I was like, yeah, man, of course I will. I love that show. Let's see. Tommy Barrios. Thank you, Mary. I hope you're talking to me as a great photographer. Let's see. Oregon schools all closed till 31 March. Okay. Let's see. Let me go to the bottom here. Illinois too, if you can find. Kim Self Machado saying, when I was a kid, we lived across from an empty lot with lots of trees where bats hung out. At night, we would go out, throw stuff in the air, and then duck. Yeah, we would do the same thing, and watch the bats dive at them. Yeah, we do the same thing. The stupid things I did as a kid, we do the same thing. And then they taught us, you know, you can catch a bat by it never worked. You can wrap something in pantyhose, and then they'll get their like, I don't know, golf ball or something in pantyhose, rock or whatever. You know, if you can actually do it, I'll bet there's a YouTube of somebody catching a bat with pantyhose. I wonder if you could just throw the pantyhose up and they would get that. Like, don't put a rock or something. It might get their, you know, sonar might get confused or whatever because they're not used to seeing pantyhose flying up there with them. You know, they're used to seeing. I've read about bat echolocation. It is unbelievably sophisticated. It is weirdly sophisticated. Like, how do you go? You ever been in caves? I used to go in caves a lot, right? Caving is wild. And you go in caves, so many bats. But how do the bats fly in the caves when there's millions of other bats? How do they do that? And all of them are doing their own sonar. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got like millions of bats all zipping around in this cave in the dark and not running into stuff and not running into each other. So apparently there's different ways that their own ears, or whatever you're going to call them, are tuned to their own frequencies. And then they do certain things. And I don't know, man, scientific is really wild. So interesting. Let's see. C. Chai is saying the linchpin of South Korea's response has been a testing program that has screened more people per capita for the virus than any other country by far. By carrying out up to 15,000 tests per day, health officials have been able to screen some 250,000 people about 1 in every 200 South Koreans since January. South Korea is way ahead of the ball on this. I may have to go. Let's see. Chicago is in huge trouble, Dave Cottrell says. Let's see. Nelda Lofaso. We would hit badminton birdies at the bats to swoop down. And yeah, I think we did that too, actually. I think we did the same thing. That's my dog, Barney, barking. Let's see. She's a great dog. I love Barney. Let's see. She was a street dog, and she adopted me. Colleen F. Rambo. Weishan, I had a student in Wuhan tell me someone stole some meat from the discard lab and sold it in the market. I don't know. Jim is saying, throw a tennis ball up and the bat will attack it and get stuck. It's got to be on YouTube if it really works, because some kids definitely have put that on YouTube. But I think we did the badminton thing too, now that you say that. Let's see. I don't remember if we did tennis balls. We did all kinds of other things with tennis balls. I'm reading comments here. That's what. Tommy's saying Kroger is struggling to keep stores stocked. Major effort. Kroger's are amazing stores. Wait until though people start getting sick at Kroger's, and then they just close the stores. I mean, this is very, very serious, and it's right around the corner. So, people like most of us don't have to go fight for anything. We'll just watch it on TV and say, there they go. Tried to warn you. Actually, it's very important. Then we can't go, I told you so. We don't want to keep people on defensive now that they have been educated by stupidity. It's the worst way to get educated, is now just welcome them in and say, okay, now let's talk about ways to make things better. How about learning how to fast with me since you don't have any food, right? And we can try some fasting later together if you would like. And so Larry is saying something is up on my end. Or if you're talking, if there's noise in the background, that's my dog. Oh, so Leah is saying her dog Newt is turning his head side to side at Barney's barking. Yeah, that's my dog. No, everything's good. Everything's good. Let's see. She's just being Barney. Eduardo Suga saying, just like you said, the Chinese plague is getting bigger and bigger down here in Brazil. The government is closing schools and asking people to stay home. Maybe President Bolsonaro was also infected while in Florida last week. I saw something about that. I hope he's not infected. Let's see. My dog can hear. Angela's saying her dog can hear my dog and she's getting excited. Barney's making friends around the world. I love Barney. How did Barney get a boy's name? I just heard people calling her something like that, Kirk. So I just kept calling her that. She's a street dog. Yeah, she's a street dog. He came back negative. That's good on the Brazilian president. Good. I hope he's not infected. And let's see. Toy is saying those guys at Kroger distribution centers worked so hard. I bet they are getting slammed. send up prayers for all the people who are involved in supplying the rest of us. Absolutely. And remember, they're frontliners now. Everybody, sorry, I'm checking security. Everybody, all of our medical people working in hospitals or private clinics and that sort of thing are frontliner people, and they need as much support as they can get. And again, law enforcement, cops, FBI, all those military, if they're like the National Guard, as they get deployed, if you know them, make sure to ask if there's anything you can do to help them stay on the front line. And I tell you, when I go to wars and that sort of stuff, it's very helpful for people that help me do stuff. Like, I need something done. I don't have time for it, or money sometimes. And it's like, I need something done. And people will come out of the woodwork and like, here, let me help you with that. Sometimes it's super technical stuff that I don't even know how to do. And then they'll come out and help me. And it help me stay in the wars, whether it's finance or if it's technical, or just sending me stuff, things like that were very helpful. Like, when I needed stuff to get sent to me, people would send. And so you need to ask people, for instance, do they need you to send them something? That can be very helpful. Jennifer is saying, where am I now? I'm in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and my dog is barking at people. Sorry if she's too loud. I can turn this down, but then you won't hear me as well. Larry is saying, my relative works for Kroger in Southern Illinois. It's bad there, so it's spreading across America now. Kimberly saying, not being mean to bats. They're cool, and they eat lots of mosquitoes. I love bats, man. Oh, listen, if you live near Gainesville, Florida, there's a bat house, or it used to be there. I hope it's still there, by Lake Alice. Lake Alice, I used to go there all the time. Go there before the sun goes down, and you'll see all these ibises and cranes and everything. Birds will come to those little islands right there by Lake Alice. And then, so the day shift comes in and goes to roost. They're really loud. And I love to watch ibises come in the way they fly. It's wild, man. It's like jet fighters coming in, and I don't know how they don't kill each other. And then after they start to land and the sun continues to come down, those bats at Lake Alice on the University of Florida campus, they'll start coming out of that big bat house, man, like a gazillion of them. And the first thing they'll do is first, if you watch the bats, at first you'll see a few come out. It'll just be one. First one comes out, and that one bat's on reconnaissance, right? That bat will go out. It checks the perimeter, it goes out, and then it'll come back, and then they'll send out more reconnaissance, and then so more and more sorry, my dog Barney. More and more bats will go on reconnaissance, and then after they say, okay, it's cool, then what eats bats anyway? What are they checking for? And then other bats will start to flood out, and when they come out, they start hitting Lake Alice right there and drinking water. So you'll see them flying over Lake Alice, boom. And then they'll go down and drink that water, right? And they'll take a sip. You'll see them hitting the water. And then a lot of them will fly out towards Payne's Prairie. I love Payne's Prairie, man. So many alligators out there and snakes. They got wild horses, man. Payne's Prairie. I spent so much time out there. I love that place. I love Florida. Did you know my hometown of Winter Haven is the same latitude as Mount Everest? My bedroom when I was a kid literally is the same exact latitude as the peak of Mount Everest. The peak of Mount Everest. I mean, not just Mount Everest, but that little small peak. If you look on Google Earth and you look at the exact coordinates, and then if you move that latitude just all the way over to Winter Haven, Florida, it'll go right over the top of my house, right? My grandparents' house where I lived for a while. Tom Colbert says Publix is socialistic. I don't know. I haven't worked there in a long time. 1 year we boarded up our sleeper. I got lots of people at the house now doing all kinds of work, and I don't want anybody in the house, but there's some bad electrical issue. Anyway, 1 year we had boarded up our sleeper porch windows during the hurricane season. The windows stayed boarded up, yet we put in replacement windows. Yeah. Aaron says hawks, owls, and snakes eat bats. Michael.Yon. What? There you go. And there's a lot of owls and hawks in Florida, especially up around that area. Paynes Prairie. I love that place, man. So if you're ever driving down Florida and you're going down I-75, what exit is it? Oh, I forgot which exit. But anyway, you can find it. Take the exit, and then it's not very far off of I-75. You can go to Paynes. You can go to Lake Alice. You can find it. Just Google it up or whatever, and go over there and make sure to stay. And there's a Waffle House not far from there. Hit that Waffle House, and then you can go over and see the birds come in as the sun goes. You can see gators out there. Gators will be trolling around. And then you can see the bats coming out of the bat house if the bat house is still there. Kids will love it. Kids will love it. Let's see. Nelda, there. Let's see. I don't see the first part of your comment. Oh, Toy Stuart Biederman is saying, my hometown in Kentucky is about the same latitude as DMZ in Korea. Actually, wherever you live in the world, it's interesting to look at the latitude. Actually, it's a good way to teach kids how to how to get interested in the map. Is like say, hey, where do we live on the map? And then you find it and stuff, and you're like, oh, here we are. Hey, let's see who else is at our latitude. It's the same distance, equidistant from the equator, right? And say, go across, you're like, wow, look at all this stuff. All these places you see in the news. If you just walk east, or you might not be able to walk across the Atlantic Ocean, or west, you'll see all these other places that are exact latitude. And I was actually kind of interested or surprised that Mount Everest happened to be that latitude. So that means Mount Everest Peak is the same latitude as Tampa International Airport Terminal. So if you know where Tampa International Terminal is, that is the latitude of Mount Everest Peak. Aaron says, I used to be a daycare provider. Not anymore. I turned down 2 requests today. I will not risk my family's health. Oh, yeah. See, now we're running into a serious, serious problem. We're running into a very serious problem. I'm sorry. I was looking at some buttons over here on my mixer. I saw a red light on. I was making sure everything's working right. And what are we going to do when schools are out and people have to work? Because as you know, schools are something of a daycare center in the United States. And again, nurses and doctors and all these law enforcement people that we're going to have to, it takes a village, everybody needs to stick together. Like yesterday, I delivered food to 2 elderly people here. Everybody needs to think of at least one thing that they can do to help. Just do one thing. Just think, what's one thing that I can do to help? Just one thing. I'll help one person. If everybody helps just one person, we're good to go. Just find one person that needs help, whether it's a cop or a doctor or a nurse or somebody that keeps the electricity going or something. Just find one person and help one person. It'll work, and everything will be peaches and cream. Also, makes you feel good. Serdip, you said, Mike, I missed your take on President Trump's announcement today. This is streaming out to several pages that freak out when I mention anything about President Trump. And I'm a guest on that page. So the only way I'm going to be able to really talk about that is to go offline now and come back online with not being on those pages. But I do have a few things to say. Yeah. But to be respectful as being a guest on other pages, I will have to withhold my judgment, my words on that while I'm streaming out to their pages. Yeah. Special Forces uses arrow symbol. That's right. That's right. One of the Green Berets down in Bangkok gave that to me. That's the Thailand, because they have a SF branch down there, and they invited me to join, which I did. And the elephant Erewhon is, for Thailand, because Thais and U.S. Thai Special Forces and U.S. Special Forces go way back together, way back. Super good relationship. And CIA as well, because CIA and Green Berets used to be living all over this town where I live, because they were helping Thais fight the communists. And so a lot of the CIA and Green Berets retired here, and they they respect the Thai military a lot. So they remain like longtime friends, and so you'll see often, like, old Green Berets will say very positive things about Thais. I used to hear so many stories about Thailand before I'd ever been to Thailand, because old Green Berets would tell me all these stories about Thailand. And I'd be like, really? How could that even be true? Like, one time I was in North Carolina, and I was with this old medic, and he had been in Vietnam and all kinds of stuff. And he was telling me stories about his wife was Thai. So he introduced me to his wife and his Thai kids, or half Thai, half American, and in North Carolina. And he was just telling me all these stories about Thailand. I was like, wow, I got to go there sometime. That sounds crazy. He's like, yeah, man, there's these they love these monkeys. And there's this town. He was telling me about this town where every year the Thais, well, they protect the monkeys, and then the monkeys want to go to the jungle. So they have this train that comes and picks up the monkeys and takes the monkeys out to the jungle. And then when the monkeys are ready to come back to town, the train takes them back to town. I was like, are you serious? He's like, I'm serious. It's a heart attack. Yeah. There's like, I don't remember what they call it, like a monkey train, right? To take the monkey. And actually, he was telling the truth. Stuff like that, man. So I'm from Florida, so we didn't get to see stuff like that until I came over here. I love Thailand, man. Thailand's great. You're welcome, Nelda. Thank you for your common sense and encouragement. Praying for you and yours. Have to get some shut-eye. Tell Barney our dog Irish says hi. Okay, I'll tell her. Hey, Irish Law in Hong Kong. I hope everything's good. Thinking about you guys every hour of the day. Yeah, Kim says, I don't get that. Kim Self-Shot. I like Trump, but this is what Kim says, but I'm not going to freak out when someone bashes him. Everyone has the right to their opinions. Actually, I think it's extremely important. But no matter who's president, not just Trump, but anybody, whether it's Obama or Bush or whatever, though, I mean, if you're the vice president or you're on his staff, then you owe loyalty, period, unless there's committing some massive crime or something. Oh, my dog Barney just came in. Hey, girl. And what are you doing? Causing problems. And you owe loyalty. But if you're like me and you're outside the wire, you owe loyalty to your country, the United States in my case, right? And so when he's doing something good, I'll say it. When I think he's doing something bad, I'll say that. Because otherwise we're building a cocoon around him that he can just do anything, right or wrong, you know what I mean? But we want to encourage things that we sense are good and discourage things that are bad. And so it's very important to Liz Bell saying, can you update us on what is going on in Hong Kong and who has video? Maybe actually Iris Law. Iris, can you put some important things up about Hong Kong? I was looking at Hong Kong stuff through the night and this virus. There's so much in the economic issue. This is all. Sorry about that. He's kind of loud. Dave Epoch Times says there is a virus that can live 3 hours in the air. I hope it's not this one. Yeah, it's important to listen to, and I don't, Barney. I'm not, like, I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, there's a lot of things I really like about the way he stood up to China. I love the way he's standing up to our immigration issues, and not being cowed down by people saying, "Oh, you're a racist." And I don't sense that with him at all, actually. Barney, she wants attention very much. I could show her to you, but it'd be hard to do, actually. She'll knock something down. How are you today? Iris is saying, how are you? Barney. Uh-oh. I guess I should go because, as you can hear, the electrical workers are working. So I'll go ahead and cut off now. As I mentioned, there's some electrical issues. And so the electrical workers are here. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut off now. And then I'll probably come back on later and I'll talk only on my pages about what President Trump said. So let me go ahead and shut off now because the electrical workers are drilling. Mike out.